Welcome back to Always Almost There, a Goose podcast by Storm Sound and Osiris Media. My name's Ryan.
And I'm Neil.
I'm Kev.
And I'm Brian, aka Jive Goose, and we are back already for part 2 of the 2025 Goose Summer Tour. And we will be covering Indianapolis through Westville. It feels like we were just here.
I know, this might be the closest together we've ever recorded tour recaps. Obviously, that is not reflected in the release of these episodes. But yeah, when I put up the mail sack post today, someone on Blue Sky was like, wait, did I miss part 1 came out? And I was like, no, we're bulk recording here.
It's a lot of shows, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, never been done. Never done it like this. Usually we record halfway through a tour. It just didn't work out this time.
Or
We've done it before.
sometimes, usually there's like a couple of weeks in between the parts.
Yeah.
Are any of you guys concerned about performance issues doing another pod this close to finishing up one?
Yeah, I usually like a few more days rest.
Yeah,
I feel
a little refractory period, if you will.
feel like I'm coming out, getting thrown back out there on short rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're Dustin Hoffman on this leg of the tour.
Yeah. I have some fiery takes that have come up between last time we recorded and now.
True.
I expect to be taken to task on these things.
Neil has been very aggressive in the group chat the last few days.
Hey, listen, you got to stir the pot.
Well, and the listeners just need to keep in mind that when Neil defaults to "I'm just trying to get a rise out of you guys," that's him admitting that he's not correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
So just for the people at home trying to decipher the discourse.
Yeah. Thank you, Kev. I'd also like to remind everybody that if you haven't listened to the first part of our tour recap, you should. And of course, you can listen in as many parts as you want. But our first episode covers Bottle Rock through St. Louis. It's fantastic. A lot to talk about there and a lot to talk about here. So without further ado, shall we dive into Indianapolis?
Let's do that. Why don't we? Okay, Indianapolis. I believe it is called the Everwise Amphitheater at White River State Park now, which is a lot of words. Yep. Used to be fewer words, but in any case,
I think
show
it was
opens
TCU Amphitheater at White River State Park.
Yeah, and then before that it was something else. I mean, as it goes. But in any case, we have a Rockdale opener, Hot Love in the Lazy Poet, Turned Clouds, Draconian Meter Maid, Earthling or Alien, Give It Time, and Old Reliable. Once again, Animal set 1 closer, which Goose, I believe, closed roughly 75% of their sets with Animal. They continue that throughout the rest of this. Not much for me to say about this set. I do like Draconian Meter Maid in this one. It's one of those instances of Rick crafts a song out of nowhere. It starts beautiful and then ends really huge. So I thought that was good. Earthling or Alien, I believe this is the last time this was played. The only time this was played.
Yeah.
The only time this was played this summer. So this is it. It's the only one you get. And it's pretty run-of-the-mill clav funk, Earthling or Alien. And then, All Reliable, Animal, Bliss Jam to close out the set.
Yeah, it closed 5 first sets this summer, which is a lot. This is, I guess, Goose had ChatGPT write the set list for this show because this is pretty much, AI-generated first set. On paper, like there's nothing crazy that happens. None of the jams really do anything. Like I think Earthling is like 17 minutes or so of, as you said, Neil, just like straight funk. So not a lot to write home about here.
Nope. This is Goose settling into the pattern that we've been talking about, from the last episode that we were together. The 6-7 song first set, followed by that 4-song second set with some jams in it.
All right.
Set 2.
Breezing
along.
This is a quick one. This is a quick show. And as often is the case when Goose plays Indianapolis, I don't know why that is, but they tend to be quick recaps. So we have a pancakes opener on the larger side. So kind of a healthy serving of pancakes here. In Your Eyes with a surprisingly pedestrian jam, which is what we're not used to for this song in particular. Then you get How It Ends in the second set. Love that. And then you get the first of a few Goonsey tumbles. Very surprising here. And then an encore of a pretty truncated Arcadia. Again, not much to say about this set. I think this Pancakes, was an attempt to jam something out there. I don't know if it really got anywhere super exciting. It does get to this kind of descending riff thing towards the end, which actually shows up in a bunch of different jams over the course of the remainder of this tour. So that part was pretty neat. Otherwise, not much to say about this one. Again, like I already said, In Your Eyes kind of has this pretty standard kind of Goose just vamping jam, and that's it. That's all you get for the jams. And then of course the Goons and the tumble. And I don't have many words to describe the tumble Goons. It is pretty fiery. It is good. Out of all the tumbles that they did, this one is the least exciting. It gets progressively more exciting as they play versions of this in this style.
Well, I thought Fiddler's tumble was really good, but was that not goonsy enough?
That didn't have the Goons. That was just a really good tumble.
It's a pretty good tumble. TM.
A little bit of Goons.
I don't think it was Goons.
I thought this Pancakes is pretty good. It's on my list near the bottom, but it's on my list. I like it. It's a good jam. Yeah. I'd say the last last 3-4 minutes is really where it's at. But yeah, some good stuff. And I'm with you. Yeah, the In Your Eyes. For me, I feel like there's been a few long In Your Eyes jams that haven't really done it for me. I'm not sure. I love this song so much, and I feel like sometimes there's too big a juxtaposition between the song that I love and then some of these jams coming out of it. It doesn't always fit for me. But yeah, decent show.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good second set. It's nothing crazy, but like you're getting improv. It's 4 songs. You're getting a great cover pick. How it ends is a fantastic cool down. And I mean, this tumble is really, I think this was the first time that we really saw them like being comfortable with the Goons. I think at Fiddler's in the Psycho Killer, they were still kind of feeling it out a little bit. Even though it was there, but this was the first time that they had successfully done it once, and they came back to it and they were like, all right, now we know exactly what to do. We're going to waste 0 minutes. We're going to go right to it. And I mean, this is the kind of jam that makes you want to run through a wall. While I think, the MSG one is better and maybe the Cleveland one is better, I think this one packs so much of a punch and it's relatively short, 15, 16 minutes. And it's fantastic. Now, the downside to this is that you get the shortest Arcadia they've ever played at a Goose headlining show. The only 2 versions that were shorter that we have timings for, at least, Beale Street Music Festival and Beanstalk in 2019, which the Beanstalk one immediately segued into Hot Tea pretty much right when the jam started. So a little bit of context there.
Great.
Remember when?
That's a great start.
Remember when this year started with 2 really long and improvisational Arcadias, and we were like, it's so back, and then it's not.
It's not.
I'm not gonna jam it every time.
No, right. But like every once in a while.
Hey, I mean, I think we said this on the day after show, but I mean, short Arcadias can be good. I actually do like this in the encore slot. If they're not going to jam it, this is a great place to put it. And you think about the Peach Arcadia, also very short and also a very, very famous Goose jam. Maybe not for its jam necessarily, but it is momentarily very fiery. And folks really dig that.
And it's like 2 minutes longer than this one.
Yeah.
This one, this felt like the Soul Shine one, where they were like, we have 7 minutes to play this song. We are going to do that Buffalo Bliss riff for around 15 seconds and then hit the ending, which is what they did. But that's indie. You guys got anything else on this show?
Serviceable second set. The Pancakes is good. Get the In Your Eyes back after 60 shows, depending on who's counting that.
Yeah, that's a good point. 61.
The tumble, Neil, you made the point that this, definitely isn't the best one of the tour, but I really like, again, that we're not scared to hear tumble anymore. That when you hear tumble, start hearing the notes of tumble, that they're going to do something special with it.
Yeah. It's a great call out, Kev. So then they head east. They set everything up and they sound checked at Bonnaroo. And then Bonnaroo got canceled. And then they packed up all the stuff again and went to All Good Now. So now we're going to talk about the All Good Now set. And, this was, they were excited to come out for this show for sure. I think, kind of the blue balls of setting up and sound checking at a festival and then not getting to play.
What are, for the people that don't know?
I don't know if we need to do that.
No, Kev. No. Okay. All right. So 2-set festival performance, which I think is pretty standard for Goose now when they're in a headlining slot like this. This, and we'll talk about Mountain Jam. And they really nail these 2-set festival shows, I think. Think of Northlands last year. Both this and Mountain Jam are great shows. So let's dive into set 1 here. We get Salt, Your Direction, SOS, Weird SOS, Redbird, Dustin Hoffman, Running Up That Hill. So, I mean, solid first set here. I think the star is the SOS, which is weird because, we kind of saw them talking about this in one of the tour vlogs that they played at the set break on the streams. But, they came out of Your Direction, which didn't jam for very long, and they ran through the beginning of SOS, but just instrumental. Rick didn't sing any of it, but they played all of the changes and went through all of the sections and then dropped into Dawn and then did the full rest of the song, gave us the nice little extended upbeat jam that this, is getting now. And I think this is a great slot for this. I think mid first set has always been great for this song, but now that you're getting this 18 minutes or so every time, I'm a fan. Otherwise, another fantastic 3-song set closing segment that includes Dustin Hoffman and Running Up That Hill. We saw that at Fiddler's. But Redbird, solid jam. The trend of Redbirds this summer, like they don't really do a jam for very long, and they either segue or they bail on it, which is interesting. I hope this fall we can kind of see a return to greatness for this song. Otherwise, nothing to write home about in the Dustin or Running Up That Hill here either, just in that it was solid stuff.
Can we talk about the SOS controversy here? Because it's very controversial. Sure. And we'd be remiss not to mention the fact that it is tracked out as SOS Into Dawn on Nugs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Real quick.
I noticed that as well.
Yeah. I think the fans notice these things, and I wonder why. I have to openly wonder why. Do you have feelings on this, Ryan? Or
I think it was because they didn't totally play SOS. I don't know. It's weird, and I think it should just be SOS because they did play the beginning of it. They didn't just do Dawn. But I think Peter may have thought of it differently because of the way that they executed it. But all I know is that it's tracked separately, and I don't really like that it's tracked separately, but my opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted your statement on that. I think it was important that you speak on it. Jive, what are your feelings on this?
Well, one thing that I wanted to clarify, according to the notes for SOS, it says only the end of the song. Because I don't think it was the whole song with all the changes. The SOS is longer than 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Is it though?
True.
It is. And and so, yeah, the fact that it says only the end of song, I guess that's the only clue as to why it was tracked in the way that it was. But interesting nonetheless. I'm not quite sure it matters so much, to be honest.
I think it matters a lot to a lot of people. I do kind of want to say that, but let's not get into that here. I do find it interesting, though, just to dig in a little bit deeper say that they sang no words to Same Old Shenanigans, yet it is tracked as Same Old Shenanigans. And I have been told on this podcast, unless they sing the lyrics of the song, it can't be noted as the song.
Dude, shut the fuck
and
up.
That is a remarkable thing.
The fact that the Royal Oak Rosewood comes up on every single tour recap that we do is actually ridiculous.
Well, hey, listen, man, I'm not the one who tracked this, so I don't really know what to tell you. So all I'm saying is there are controversial things happening all over the place on this SOS.
Put that on the list for things.
And I think the important thing here is there is a precedent that says I was right all of those years ago. So that's very important.
Right. So come back for the Sweet 16 of the Jam of the Year bracket when Neil asks Peter about this.
Yes, please come back for that. It's going to be great. And I suspect his answer is going to be there's a small handful of people who don't believe that Dawn is a song, and this was intentionally done to troll those people. But that's my suspicion. Otherwise, going through this set, there are a collection of great songs. The set list is fantastic. There aren't many jams. As you already said, Ryan, Redbird is doing this Redbird thing where it's briefly amazing and then immediately moved on from, which is kind of a drag because it's such a good jam vehicle. And there are glimpses of brilliance in almost every Redbird they play. I can think of one where that doesn't happen. But in any case, this is what you get. And this is a very emblematic Goose set of summer 2025. You get, it's a big show, so they're playing Running Up That Hill, right? You get your Dustin Hoffman, you get a Redbird, you get Assault, you get a Your Direction. So this feels very 2025 to me. And the end result is it's just good. There's not much more to say about it. Fun factors high, jams not so much.
Yep. If I'm not going to get jams, then I want a set list like this.
Yeah,
so I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
and I mean, look, I'll just say I don't love all these Big Dawn jams. I think it's a really powerful song, and I think that when they nail the jam, which in my opinion, I think they've done once, it's great. But otherwise, it almost starts like in my head, I compare it to Welcome to Delta a little bit. Where it's like I see it and I think, well, maybe it's good, but I'm probably not going to like it. I won't say it's bad. I'll just say I'm not going to love it. You know what I mean? And that's just my personal opinion. Yeah. So that would be my only gripe. If I was handing out gripes, it would be, jam out that Redbird, Yeah,
man.
And then this set is perfect. But anyway, it's a really good festival set.
Yeah. Or they could jam out the Dustin. I know Neil hates when they jam out Dustin.
I was just going to ask. That's, is this a playlist, Dustin? I'm going to ask this for everyone that we go through here. Okay.
Oh my God. So for those who don't know, which is everybody, if you didn't get the drift in part one, Neil does not have any Dustin Hoffmans on his Jam of the Year playlist, which I think is very silly.
Yes.
I think that there are currently 3 that are worthy of being on the playlist.
He has 2 Green Rivers, though.
But,
so.
Yeah, right.
It's sick.
Wait, is the Green River on your playlist?
Oh, no, of course not. But
don't say of course not. You don't really make sense these days. All right, set 2 at All Good Now. We come out swinging with Dripfield into This Old Sea, Factory Fiction, Hollywood Nights, Fast Slow, Factory Fiction. So you kind of start, they kind of set the table with the drip into This Old Sea, just really powerful drip and This Old Sea with no jam. So nothing crazy to write home about in the drip, similar to C-Mac. They just kind of come out, play a huge peak, and then move on to the next song. This Old Sea, they skip the jam for the second Factory Fiction of the tour here, but also the second one to be an interesting jam, which is fantastic. Again, that was one of the things we were talking about for a long time, and I said this about the Fiddlers one, I'm so happy that they're doing stuff improvisationally with this. So this is like 22 minutes long. There's not really any section of it that really sticks in my brain as being incredible like the Fiddlers one has, but they're jamming it out, and it's not just a 22-minute, kind of nothing jam. So excited about that. Hollywood Nights here, interesting placement coming out of Factory, I think, but, this is always the right cover for a festival. People love this shit. Maybe they were planning on doing it at Bonnaroo. You never know. And then you get at this point, starting to be your obligatory Goose with the Fast Slow. And then into the finish of Factory Fiction to close out the show. And I think this whole segment here, Factory, Hollywood Nights, Fast Slow, Factory, is fantastic. It would be great at a show, but I think that works really well in a festival setting, demonstrating transitions. And you get really great original song with a jam, energetic cover, kind of newer song with the dance party, and then wrap it all up with the ending of Factory. And so, I think this was a great choice to play at this festival.
Can I talk about the jam of this fest? It's
Yes.
the All Good Soundcheck Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Totally
I was going to get to
yeah.
that. I was going to get to that, but I wanted to talk about.
I'm
the
going to go
second set
straight to
first.
the Soundcheck Jam.
Well,
Although
wait.
I do,
Kneeling.
I like a factory Seeger. You know, I'll take that.
It's been done. Yeah.
Hollywood Fiction.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, Neil and Kev, do you guys have any thoughts on the second set before we talk about the Soundcheck Jam?
Well, one thing that I kind of have a question for you guys about this set. With it seems like we're seeing Factory Fiction more. They're playing it more. Do you guys think that it should be more of a special song that only gets broken out sometimes, or do you think there's more of a recognition of the band of how powerful that song is to play and to consciously play it more?
I hope it's the latter, because it's a fantastic song. It deserves to be played more. It can be played 2 or 3 times a tour and still be kind of a special song that doesn't get played all that often. I do like kind of the big show treatment, and now that it is being treated as a jam vehicle in a show, I love the way they're using it. In fact, I don't think anything's taken away from the song at all by the fact that they're doing it all the time. I think when they were doing it all the time before and not really jamming it, specifically, I'm thinking of like late 2022 and parts of 2023, where it's just like, why?
And even 2024.
Yeah, like why again, And then, but in this case, I'm like, sick. They're jamming it again,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with Neil on that.
All right. Jive, any
So the
thoughts
Soundcheck Jam.
Yeah. B's on silent strike until he can talk about the Soundcheck Jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neil, Neil, you had more thoughts.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I thought you were going to ask for my answer.
Yeah, well, I thought, I wasn't sure if you were going to answer it.
I was deep in thought. No, I was just checking.
It was a good question.
Stats. I don't think that it has to be like some kind of special occasion song. You know what I mean? It's a great song. So I don't mind. I mean, it got played 6 times last year, 3 times in 2023, 6 times in 2022. So they've kind of maybe been going back and forth on it. So I agree with Ryan that, I mean, it's great that they're throwing these, these great jams in with it. But I don't think it has to be reserved for some special occasion. I think it should be in the rotation with all of their other songs,
Fair.
Nice.
Yeah, and I just don't want to brush past this Factory Fiction without talking about it. It comes in 2 parts here. I do like the jam. I think the jam is actually better than average, I would say, in this Factory Fiction, with the big hits, the dun dun, and then they get everything that follows, and they really hammer on those 2 big hits, and then follow it up with some amount of melody, and then they play with that a little bit throughout the course of this jam, and I think that's actually really powerful, and it makes it pretty great. And then the return to Factory Fiction, when I listen to that, it doesn't sound like Factory Fiction to me. It sounds like Madhavan for a good solid 5 minutes of that, where it's just the return to Madhavan in the disguise of Factory Fiction, and that's pure fire. That's a killer way to close out the set, especially after kind of doing the Goonsy fast slow thing, which gets people up and moving. So overall, really well crafted set. I think it's amazing. But to segue us into this jive, I also agree that the jam of this show was the thing they played in front of a handful of people earlier in the day.
Yes. Very glad that I was like, let's go to the pavilion before Eggy starts. Maybe Goose is sound checking. And, we walked in right as they were starting to play, and it was just like, whoa. Probably, I don't know, 300-400 people there, some more on the lawn. But it was really cool to see Goose in that setting. This doesn't happen often. You think of this and Soulshine, similar kind of thing with Soundcheck. They played a song there. I think it was a little different, but this is just 22 minutes of jam. And B, I'll let you talk about it. I know you have.
You know what the ultimate Soundcheck was?
I do. It's Eau Claire.
The Pines. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, you weren't there, Ryan.
Is that all you have to say?
Well, no, I just wanted to throw that out.
Flex the stats. Yes, I wasn't seeing Goose in 2021. You guys are cooler than me. All right.
That about covers it.
Yeah, great.
That's fair.
Great jam. Yeah, I mean, definitely a playlist jam for me.
All right.
It was a Goose was on the bill on this date, and it was a jam played in front of people who had paid admission, and I feel like that checks all the boxes.
True.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
It's a sound check, and sound checks are not eligible for the Jam of the Year bracket. Therefore,
wait, I'm confused.
This is not eligible. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate that. No, while this was played in front of theoretically a ticketed audience, it was not advertised that Goose would.
No, that's not a theory. That's the thing that actually.
Yeah, these are real. These were real people. Like
right.
you are a real person that was there, right?
Okay, we do believe you're real.
Poor choice of words.
I mean, you're Canadian, but you're still a real person.
My point is this fantastic jam, this exercise in patience, this laid-back groove that they play here. Cotter had gotten out of bed like 5 minutes before he walked on stage. But this was not at a Goose show.
Top 10
this
jam?
is not officially part of what Goose played at All Good Now. This, if they had chosen not to release the audio from this, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and it would have been like, oh man, I saw a really sick soundcheck jam, and I was very lucky to be there. So same as the people at Soulshine all paid to be there, and they saw a soundcheck, and the band released the audio from it, but it was not included for eligibility in the bracket because it was at a sound check, and the band, mentally at least, it's different rules.
Sounds like we're being arrested by the fun police.
Gee, I didn't listen to a goddamn word of that. Not a single fucking thing.
Because you've heard me say this before. So, can we talk about the actual music that was played in this soundcheck jam rather than have this point?
You're the one who's talking. I don't know. Well, the rest of us are like checking our watches. I
you guys brought it up. You brought it up, knowing exactly
I would just
what would happen.
Just to Kev's point, I think I would say fun, yelled at by the fun cadet.
The hall monitor of fun.
The Mountie of fun.
Junior Mountie.
Junior Mountie of fun.
So I'll say this one thing about this jam without going in and dissecting all 20 some odd minutes of it. What I like about this jam is there were no stakes. And the result is you get something actually that sounds very different than really anything else that was played on this tour. They didn't give a damn.
Because it's a sound check. That's the point. That's
Can you let me finish what I'm saying? He's still talking about soundtrack. Yeah. We're talking about music here, right?
Yeah, trying to talk about music. He said, let's move on. We're moving on. And he keeps dragging us back.
He keeps dragging us back. I'm just trying to talk about the music, man. We're here to talk about the music.
It's what it was all about. It's what it was all about to begin with, Ryan. Jeez.
It's really good. Really good music. But no, so the important thing here to mention is it sounds really good, and I wish they did more of this. I wish they stopped caring so much about it being such a gigantic production every once in a while and just let something like this happen, because this is excellent jamming. They truly didn't care because it didn't matter what they were doing. And I would like if they had that carefree approach more often in their live sets.
The fucking look on Ryan's face.
I bet you do have this carefree approach every time they do a soundcheck jam. But yes, I agree. I would love this kind of vibe. I would love this kind of approach to things that they do at an actual show. It would be fantastic.
Oh my God. Are you going to be okay? No. I feel like maybe you need to take a short walk or something. Maybe have a tiny cup of hard kombucha to settle your nerves.
Okay. Let's go to Wilmington.
We're on to Wilmington.
All right, June 17th, Live Oak Bank Pavilion, Wilmington, North Carolina. We get the My Mind. I feel like I'm getting all of the shows with this song. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I think you are.
My Mind Has Been Consumed by Media. Opener. Echo of a Rose, Lead Up, Yeti, Green River, All I Need, Born, Give It Time. This is also a really good festival set. I mean,
yeah, right. Exactly.
I'll let Neil talk about the Green River, and I'll just talk about the All I Need, which is really good. There are a handful of really good All I Need jams Well, this year, but yeah, 2 on this episode that we're going to talk about. And I would say I kind of, I had to A/B these All I Need's a number of times. They're both really good. They're kind of hard to separate. They have some similarities, but then they also have some differences. And, they're both just really good, and that's what makes me happy. Otherwise, like I said, kind of a festy set, but by and large, really good song choices. Nice open to the show.
For sure. So this All I Need, I think, like you, I think it's fantastic. It starts off a little bit different than the New Haven one that we're going to talk about, a little bit later, which I think folks are going to be really, really excited about. It starts off with like a little bit of the slow funk. And then a thing that happens in this that I love when this happens, and it happens throughout the whole entire tour, every once in a while, Trevor kind of introduces a phrase, he introduces a phrase, and then Rick immediately repeats that phrase back and then builds a whole thing out of it. That's what's happening in this jam. Trevor stumbles on something, Rick picks it up, makes a phrase out of it, and then the whole entire jam that happens after that is just that. Well, not the whole entire jam, sorry, because there is a little bit of a post-peak jam here with Rick doing some finger picking that I think is absolutely beautiful. But the other thing I want to say about this is, once Rick picks up on that and kind of crafts this phrase out of Trevor's original idea, Cotter does the Cotter thing, where he slowly increases the intensity of the song, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of in the middle of this gigantic jam that started from something very small. Mm-hmm. And this is one of my favorite things that Goose does right now, is this exact style of jamming. And I especially love the fact that it's all born out of an idea that came out of a bass line.
That's a great point. I also want to call attention to the post-peak jam that we get here.
Yes, sir.
We're building towards the Mountain Jam hunger site with these kinds of things, but they have this big peak, and then you get 2 minutes of this kind of just very serene and calm jam before they go into Born, which is so good. And I'm so happy that the crowd is not as loud on the recording as it was at this show, because as soon as the peak died away, everyone started talking, and it was hard to hear this amazing jam. But I love that they're doing that. I hope when they come back at the fall, we continue to see them kind of expand on this post-peak thing. Like, just because you hit that huge energy climax does not mean that has to be the end of the jam. And I think that's something that Goose is slowly figuring out what to do with. Otherwise, in this first set, Echo kind of puzzles me here. I think sometimes you get it as, like, this tour, you got it as the sandwich a couple of times. It kind of segued out of Wisteria in San Francisco, and that was kind of, okay, we got the short version. This one is just kind of a 6-minute Echo. And, it just, you ask yourself, like, why? It's like we'll talk about the Madhavan at Westville. Why even play it? At that point, like, you're not going to jam it. You're not using it as a launch pad for anything else.
I mean, it's still a good song. I mean, in the set,
they also
play a radio edit Born, which I love, and they do that actually a few times.
Radio edit Born. Oh, it's a short jam.
Yeah, it's a jamless. Sounds almost like the original recording. Radio edit is just kind of a turn of phrase. It's not actually the radio.
But I think that's the thing that Born does a lot of the time. Like, it can jam or it can't, and it's a great song whether it does or not. Echo feels like it's a good song, but without the jam or doing something in the middle, it feels, to me at least, like it's kind of a waste of the song.
That's fair.
Because Echo also hasn't really jammed in a significant way in a while.
It does a little bit later in this tour.
Well, yes. And I mean, I guess technically it did at Fiddler's, but
hold on.
And yeah, this Green River does the San Francisco thing again.
Dope. I'm sorry. Like, I'm looking forward to my first Green River. I have not yet had it. I'm going to mention it every time they play it, and we mention it on this podcast. Jive Goose is literally retching right now, I think.
Yeah, what is... are you eating peanut butter? What's going on over there?
He's just such a big CCR fan.
He's just not a fan of my takes at all. That's what he is. Set two?
Set two. Thank you, Ryan. The Empress of Organos set 2 opener. A Western Sun, Creatures, Silver Rising, and then a You Spin Me Round encore. So we got some Goons. We get a pretty good Empress.
Yeah.
We get a pretty good Empress here. I think there's two really great Empresses that we're going to talk about on this episode. This is not the better of the two, but this is good. Right now I've got them both on my bracket, but I think I've still got this one on there. Just
Ooh.
It's probably going to go to my micro jam bracket. Maybe No Jam of the Year for You, pal.
Can a 19-minute jam?
That's why I'm like,
be a micro jam?
No Jam of the Year for You, pal. Like, it's
yeah,
hard.
It's a little long.
Maybe I'll do a whole nother playlist. So yeah, really, really good stuff here with the Empress. Also, Empress getting a lot of plays, and some very short rest plays coming up as well. So that was my ringer. Can anyone name that tune?
Was that Celebration?
By who?
Oh, like the
Oh no,
Cool in the Gang.
You said Celebration. I was thinking something. No, it was The Slip, Neil.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
Not even fucking close.
Airplane Primitive. It's been my
my
ringer for 15 years. I don't know. Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry for the disruption. So I feel like the Western Sun jam here doesn't really do a whole lot for me. And then Creatures generally isn't my whole thing. And then Silver Rising Side Closer. Yeah. So I think the Empress here is what I'm all about. And then the rest of it is, fun stuff, I'm sure, for everyone who was in attendance. So good job by everybody who went.
It was fun.
Had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the first Western Sun to hit the 20-minute mark since 11/16/21. So that's a big milestone. Longest one they've played since Perry.
Is it a good show?
I think the best thing that this Western Sun does is reestablish the song as a major jam vehicle. And I think we will see later in the tour it doesn't do that again, but I think now the door is very much open for it to do things like this for a long time again, which is great. The Empress or Goose knows for the first time, this is a very, this is a very conscious rework of the song. They skip both the Peter and Rick solos, which are typically what we talk about as the part of the song that has, gotten a little stale. And, they have to work through all of those sections before they get to the jam, if any. And so this one, Trevor goes and Cotter just comes in with the disco beat and, then we goons and it's sick. This one, as you said, B, I think the one from later in the tour is a little bit better. And that one, or by the next two, they figured out how to come back from the goons into the ending of Empress, which they don't do here.
Yeah, I like what I like about the reinvention of Empress in the middle of the tour, by the way, which is fascinating. Maybe, I don't know. In any case, what I really like about this is Rick does, as he does in a lot of the goons now, he kicks on that octave down pedal and the sauce at the same time. So you get this kind of really kind of deep sauce thing. And then he layers that right on top of the bass line. And it makes just everything kind of drive in a more drum and bass kind of way. And the result is it just sounds sick. It sounds a little bit dark and it's not as, EDM-y. It's something different. And that's what makes me really like this version, like Jive. And I do think there's an even better version coming as they kind of figure this out. I think that actually happens throughout this tour where they kind of are figuring out these Goonsy jams and making them more and more interesting, more and more, varied and different creative approaches to these things. And that's really cool stuff, man. I was saying this on the day after show. I think I might have said it last time we recorded. We as jam music fans demand that bands reinvent themselves. It's a thing that we've all done for years and years and years. We say we're sick of this, give us something new. And all of the big kind of improv bands have done that and satisfied their fans in myriad ways. And here we are in the middle of that happening with Goose, and I'm excited about it. I think it's It's a tricky jamming style because it is confining, but this right here shows some kind of light at the end of the tunnel that maybe these things are actually getting slightly more varied and maybe they can take these in a few different directions. So that is exciting stuff. Before I hand it off, I just want to talk about the Western Sun, which I think this Western Sun is kind of cool in a way. I mean, it's big and it's long. I don't know if it's reestablished it as like a big jam vehicle, like Ryan was saying, because they have to do it again. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's established as anything. I mean, they can just go back to playing short versions again. But I would like to see a whole tour where they really dive into this thing and kind of do this. But like when I listen to this, and I'm going to do the thing that I always do, which is compare it to Fish. But I mean, I hear Llama in this thing. It just gets like hyper speed like Llama, and everybody's just kind of like into it, and that's dope. That is a really unique section for a Goose Jam, and I love it. I think it's awesome. Like, is this a playlist jam? I don't think so. This doesn't go on my playlist, but it's a neat one to go back and listen to because it's a different approach that they don't typically do.
I seem to remember you criticizing me for not having it on my playlist after the Wilmington show, but
I might have been
drunk. He was just trying to get a rise. Just trying to get a rise.
What? Come on. It's me after all. Just trying to get a rise out of you. Yeah. Which is easy enough to do. All you have to do is talk about sound checks, which we can go back to that if you like.
There are a lot of things. It's very easy to get a rise out of me, Neil. You can talk about most things and it will get a rise out of me. Yeah. And I like that you spin me encore here. It's a great encore, and we'll see it again later in the tour. But it was good. Fit the vibe.
Yeah.
Showhio time.
Showhio. You ready?
It's the Showhio of the Midwest.
June 19th, 2025. We are in Cleveland, Ohio. Great city. Jacobs Pavilion at Nautica. Love all these sponsorships going on here. So let's open the show with Mais Que Nada, great tune cover by Jorge Ben, Sergio Mendes, according to the show notes. Then we get a Honeybee into Torero, Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, Mr. Action, composed tune, The Labyrinth, and we round out the first set with Hot Tea.
This certainly is a first set. You have a pretty fantastic Torero in the middle. Otherwise, there are a lot of questionable choices being made, including the we're going to play a 19-minute Hot Tea to close the first set, which will then negatively affect.
Don't you dare disparage this Hot Tea. I won't allow it to happen.
I will. It was too long.
Sick.
It could have done the Michael Jackson thing and been just as good and been 5 minutes shorter.
Dude, listen. This Hot Tea is essentially a cover of a Michael Jackson song that goes on for approximately 19 minutes, and it's fun. It's good. If they just played the song, if they played Working Day and Night, that would have been sick, and folks would still be talking about it. But because it's Hot Tea, and then they threw the jam in there, nobody wants to talk about it. I strongly disagree. If you're going to throw in a Hot Tea.
The fun police are making another arrest.
Yeah, I know. Ryan just is like no fun at all. The fun cadet.
No, I'm not a vibes guy, Neil.
Garrett, if you're listening, we need the fun cadet sticker made before the next tour. Absolutely crucial that it gets done. Who wants to talk about the Torero? Because I think we should talk about the Torero.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Very lengthy 2-guitar Goose. I think it kind of tries to find its way for a while, and it's good, but nothing crazy. And then they hit upon this Bliss jam for a few minutes before bringing it back, which is really, really good. I think by the time they got there, they didn't really give the Bliss the time to develop and really peak the way that I think it should have. But this is still a very, very good jam. And big Torero, big 2-guitar jam. We all win.
I think this is a multi-faceted jam. I really like this one. I've got it high on my playlist for this section of shows. I really like I like the first jam coming out of the song. And then to your point, maybe Ryan, they kind of just, fiddle around there for a few minutes, maybe thinking about where to go next. But then there's a really cool kind of chill down section before it builds back up. And yeah, I really like the flow. I'm still warming up to Torero the song. So, maybe I haven't listened to this jam as many times as some other jams that are ranked lower. You know what I mean? So that should tell you something. I have a lot of respect for this jam. But I don't necessarily have it on repeat. So we'll see where it ends up in the long run. But yeah, the first of some really good jams from this show.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: would your opinion change about Torero at the song if they opened with it, the show, and they noted it in the notes as a Torero opener?
I think that would be. I think
How
that
would you
be
feel
sick.
about that?
For opener?
I think we should have cute names for every song that's played in different places. You know what I mean? I've always wondered why we don't say Floser or Flancore. Because there's a precedent, you know?
Yes. Precedents are important. As we've
they
learned.
are. We know precedents are very, very important.
And flancore sounds pretty tasty. I'd order that for dessert.
Yeah. Sounds custardy.
But then you'd end up being disappointed. So.
Oh God, we're so annoying.
This is so good. So Torero, real quick, before you move us on. So I do want to talk about this one. There is a section. I'm doing the thing again. I mean, to me, when I listen to it, it goes straight from like Latin vibes to like Caribbean vibes, and I get Yamar. I hear like a whole section of Yamar. While I was at the show, I'm like texting Ryan, like he's a mean old pa.
Yeah,
we have no Kipa. I mean, to me, that's what I heard, and like a lot of people I talked to also heard that kind of Yamar section, and I thought that was really good. I think this whole jam is pretty neat, and I like that kind of tension-filled return that happens in Torero for that kind of the big finish. That's really good stuff. This really anchors the set because it's kind of rough set.
Yeah, I mean, like you get the labyrinth. I think as much as I don't like the labyrinth, I think it can work in a first set. But I think the way that this one was, where you have the Torero, but you've got Short Mascanada, Honeybee, Hot Love, Mr. Action, and then you play the labyrinth. It's just like all right, let's do something.
Give me the goods.
Yeah. Which again we got in the Torero, but yeah, and then we talked.
I don't know. I think with the labyrinth, it clocks in at 10 minutes and change. So you know what I mean. There are other things that have a greater negative impact to a set for me than the labyrinth.
Like a 19-minute.
That might be one actually. But
killing me.
I don't know. This is definitely a find joy in other people's joy kind of set.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, the labyrinth is also the longest 10 minutes in the Goose catalog.
But time is relative.
Yes,
exactly. Some people don't feel like it's the longest 10 minutes in the Goose catalog. All right, set 2.
Yeah, man. And so we get into set 2. We get a pretty lengthy Madhavan opener, clocking in just over 24 minutes there. Followed up hot
Madhav opener.
Yeah.
Anyway, into a straight played Atlas Dogs, Unfinished Mist following that, and then we close that second set with Hunger Sight.
This is a great set. I'm happy to start this one off. This Madhavan is a throwback Madhavan. It has all of the vibes of like a 2021 kind of Madhavan, mainly because it reminds me a lot of the second half of the Legend Valley Madhavan.
On the anniversary.
So maybe they were thinking about it, maybe they weren't. It's not identical. It's not a full start-stop thing that they do. It's kind of more of a dynamic shift that they do, so soft loud instead of full-on stop and play. But there are multiple sections to this that I like, which I think is a thing they don't really do all that often anymore. And to me, this is to great effect. This is one of my favorite jams. The funny thing is, in the moment, like I don't even think I realized how good it was. I just kind of walked out of there saying like, that was a pretty good Madhavan. But every re-listen I have to this, it gets better. And that is pretty exciting stuff for a set. What I really like is when they enter kind of that free space thing where they start from nothing in Madhavan. Trevor is almost exactly playing the bass line that he plays in the middle of Nashville Pancakes. So like you get that vibe. They get the Nashville Pancakes vibe like right off the bat. And so he has that plotting bass line thing going. And then, Peter goes insane on the synth as he does throughout the whole entire tour. and then they get into that propulsive, like slightly kind of dark jam. And then they do the Legend Valley Madhavan thing, and then it just goes completely unhinged. So there's like all these different sections that all do really cool, interesting stuff. There's not a moment in this where you're like, wonder when we're going to get to the next thing. So that is amazing. Do you want to do this like one song at a time here? Because I feel like there's a lot to bite into on this set, or I can just kind of move on. And
I mean, I kind of want to talk about the Madhavan before we move on to the Mist.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, let's do a round.
I want to spend about 15 minutes talking about that straight played Atlas Dogs.
Sweet.
So good. So we'll get to that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm quite as high on this Madhavan as you are, Neil. I think it's also that recycled jamming style that I don't think comes across as well. You have another recycled jam that I have much higher on my list, later on in the tour in the Guilford Rockdale. But I think in this one, it's very good. Friend of the pod, Adam, brought up a good point earlier in a group chat where this is kind of also like the Homedale Madhavan, but like that one is a better version of this style of jam where they also kind of do the stop-start dynamic shift thingy. So I don't know. I mean, this is a fantastic jam. I just don't think I'm as high.
Didn't you say you had it at like number 12 for the year? I mean, that's pretty high on it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm with you.
It is. It is. I think
Seriously.
Neil's higher, and I may have moved it down since then. Hang on.
This is the best 12. Jam of, certainly the second half of the tour, probably of the summer tour, I guess, for me. I haven't slotted in the entire summer tour yet. Oh, no,
Sorry,
Thatch.
You have this higher than the Bend Thatch, and
you have the Thatch.
Yeah, I have it higher than
Guilford Fish in the Sea. Oh,
I have it one spot higher. Fish in the Sea is
we'll get there.
My number 2 for basically 6-17 through the end of the tour.
Onward.
And then while we're talking about it, Torero is number 3. So 2 of my top 3 jams from 6-17 onward are from this show. And then a little bit further down the list, quite a ways down the list, I also do have this Mist currently present on my playlist. But yeah, I love this Madhavan, and I don't think anyone should. I think if we want to talk about the start, stop, slow down, change in dynamic, that's not what defines this jam. That's one cool section of this jam. There's a lot going on in these 24 minutes, and I guess you would say almost 18 minutes of improv. And so, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I like how this starts out dark. I like the start stoppy kind of stuff, and I don't think that all of those sound the same. I think there's a lot of elements to jamming that are similar. So I think this is one that for some reason has a negative connotation for people as well. It's repetitive, or it's copying this, or it's already been done. I mean, almost, you could say that about a lot of types of jamming, really. So I'm not sure why this one gets singled out and some other ones get singled out. That's always a little bit confusing to me. Anyway, I'll stop with just saying that this is a sick jam.
It is a sick jam. I want to say one more thing, Kev, if you have thoughts. I'm sorry if I cut you off, but this Madhavan doesn't finish. So you can't measure this 24 minutes of Madhavan against another 24 minutes of Madhavan where it's played straight up. You get another 5+ minutes of Madhavan in the encore where they actually finish the Madhavan. So there's a lot more jamming here than I think you realize when you look at the track length on Nugs.
I think it's only like 45 seconds less than it would have been, though, because they are playing the ending, but Rick decides not to play the ending riff so he can finish it later. But they're literally in the ending of Madhavan for the last 2 minutes of this. And instead of fading into Atlas Dogs, he could have finished Madhavan, and it wouldn't have affected where the trajectory of the improv was in this version.
Yeah, you could also say they played it for another 5 minutes after it, but yeah,
but that was separate. So, but I mean, in terms of normally an unfinished jam would imply they were nowhere near the ending when they segued. This one is different because they were very much at the ending.
You're the fun cadet.
Yeah.
I am.
That's the third violation he's called this evening.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Somebody get like hash marks going so we can actually have a running count when we finish the show.
Have fun. Stop trying to have fun. Kev, you have thoughts on this Atlas Dogs?
I have thoughts just to wrap up the Madhavan discourse. When you guys are talking about that stop-start discourse, I think that like that's the easiest thing for people to identify and to compare across some of these versions that have that in common. So I think people do that at the expense of listening, like B was saying, it's just one part of the song, and it's the easiest thing to focus on and the easiest thing to compare. So I think sometimes people might lose the forest for the trees, if you will. So that's my thoughts on that.
All right. So let's move on to The Mist, because The Mist is also sick. Actually, I do want to talk about the Atlas Dogs, because there is an interesting part to this Atlas Dogs, which there's like a post Atlas Dogs jam that acts as an interlude into Mist, kind of. And
into the Mist?
Into the Mist, exactly. And it's pretty sick. So if you go listen to this on the track, go to Atlas Dogs, and then kind of fast forward to the end there so you can hear this part leading into the Mist, because it is excellent. This Mist is kind of weird because it doesn't do much for about the first 11 minutes, and then it just takes off into this, triumph jam. I don't know how else to describe it, but, Cotter is absolutely destroying the toms in this thing. And I love that, where he's just like hammering away at the toms, and it just sounds so ridiculously good. Rick, is searching for that riff, and somehow he finds it at the exact moment that Cotter drops a fill. It was like almost telepathic. It's nuts what happens in this one. And it gives me a similar vibe to, just how triumphant and exciting the Capitol Theater Mist was. Not as good, but similar in vibe, and just like the way that this one shakes out, beginning to end. This is just a really.
I was also getting Cap vibes, Cap Rosewood vibes. I really do. I really do get some Cap Rosewood vibes on this jam, which is probably why I like it so much, because I like that kind of vibe, and yeah, this is a really cool. So this is kind of a micro jam, playlist jam. It tracks out at 19 minutes, but Mist is a lengthy song, the proper part of the song. So this is almost a micro jam, but right now it's on my playlist. I mean, we'll see if it stands the test of time for the rest of this year. Because I think the playlists are probably getting long. I currently have 62 songs on my playlist, but some of those are absolutely
yell at me, Neil,
moving to another playlist. But I would probably still have mid 40s on here that I wouldn't be willing to kick out just yet.
Neil, for the record, I have 39.
I have 53. So
then why do you criticize me that I have every song that they've ever played on my playlist?
Ryan's a defensive little elf this evening.
I'm always defensive.
He's just all fired up, too. It's actually kind of great. I love starting off like with this energy. This is good. I mean, we've got like more than an hour left to go. Ryan's already all fired up. This is good stuff. No, I'm starting with that many jams because I found this year to be really confusing. I think Jive, he keeps bringing up the micro jams thing. At one point, I had a micro jams playlist that I was just maintaining separately from my Jam of the Year playlist. And then it occurred to me, that's crazy, because this band is different. They played a 10-minute Jive lead the other night that I think actually might belong on some playlists because it was so good. Not the other night. It was in Phoenix.
In Vegas?
I think, right? Or Vegas. Thank you.
Over a month ago.
Yeah. Whatever. It's all the same to me. Hey, when folks are listening to this, it could have been 3 months. You never know.
Could have been a year. Could have been a decade.
Could have been years. Yeah, seriously. Unlikely. But my point is, they have all of these jams now. Like, and I'm going to keep hammering on this one because it's so ridiculously good. But the Grand Rapids Half Step, very, very good. And I looked at that one in particular, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. So I just put it on all one playlist. And I'm just going to have to wait until the year ends to really decide what my cutoff is for what is a micro jam versus what is a full length jam, because the band is evolving a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why I have that many on right now. I think when I'm done kind of paring everything down, I'll get less than that. But I don't know. I mean, the jams are there. There's just, it feels like sometimes they're not. But I think when you take a moment to zoom out and look at it, there's a lot of good stuff to sift through. And I want to point out that I have, what is it? I think, did I say 53? And I have 0 versions of Dustin Hoffman. I think that's important to know.
I mean, I think that's just straight up incorrect at that point.
I think if we're going to talk about micro jams, we'll have to look to Ryan to tell us whether or not there is a minimum time required for the bracket challenge, or
shut the fuck up.
So there's not. Okay, I was just checking. I don't know all the rules. You know what I mean?
All right. So basically, Mist and Hunger Cider are a great 1-2 punch of really amazing, blissful jamming to close this set, and then you get the Doob Avon Encore,
which is sick. It is not. I want to be very clear about this. The piece of Madhavan that they stuck on the end here wasn't an afterthought. It was actually a really good piece of improv that happens for not a long period of time, but a good enough amount of time for you to not feel kind of ripped off by Madhavan being sandwiched.
Yeah, this one you can put in your playlist.
Yeah, I'll have it.
It's eligible. It's long.
I will. I'll have it.
I think he's mocking you.
The first part of the Madhavan, because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
you do that. I mean, you do that.
What I do want to say,
however you
about this encore, and you guys have heard me say this before, but I will say it because I don't have that many opportunities to say it. I like Doobie Song, and I think it is a great encore.
Damn right. I agree.
71 shows.
Take a little rip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it. I think it
All right.
was a great idea. Well, just to pause on that thought for a second, there were a lot of kind of rarities in the show. There was an intention there to play things like The Labyrinth and Honeybee, although short rest Honeybee. And then you of course get the Doobie. So shall we move on to Cleveland Night 2?
We shall.
All right. So briefly doused in rain in Cleveland. Let me tell you, that venue has a tent over the top of it, does not stop the rain, and in fact channels the rain to the top row of seats, creating a mystical waterfall that flows down through the venue and soaks every one of your possessions, including poor people who have put their poster dues on the ground. So be careful about that if you're ever
sorry about your poster, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I didn't buy a poster at that show. Or actually, no, I did, but it was out for. It doesn't matter. In any case, No Rain opener as an homage to the deluge of rain that we got. Kind of a fiery, bluesy version of No Rain. It's funny, you check the comments on Nugs about this one, and folks are like, that's the sickest No Rain ever. I don't know if I agree with that.
It's like, no,
but I love what they did with it.
Like that.
Yeah, that one's way better. Way better. So No Rain opener, though, is sick, and I'm very excited about it whenever they do it. 2-guitar Goose is excellent. Peter playing solos, excellent. This ends with a transition into Dr. Darkness, with the Dr. Darkness. And then that Dr. Darkness transitions with darkness into this flowdown, which is, I wish B was here for this. He just stepped up for a moment, but this flowdown is actually quite good because it starts off like against all odds. It starts off all dark and strange, and then Trevor is just doing something very different than what Rick is doing, and just adding so much tension with the bass, and it's just like tension building on the bass the whole entire time, and I love it. It's a fun, unique approach to flowdown. So that's awesome. How it ends in the first set, great. You get a very interesting sequence of Drive, not so exciting necessarily. You get Seekers on the Ridge, part 1 and 2. They were getting somewhere with that Drive. Poor Ryan Storm, very upset. I posted
very upset
video of this on the internet. I mean, it's great.
Ripcord.
If you can find this on my Blue Sky, you should go and look at it. I got a full view of Ryan just kind of sulking as he's walking down the stairs. He's really upset. Good stuff. Great watch. And then you get a very controversial end to the set. They play Seekers 1, Seekers 2. The people on the internet disagree. And once Seekers 2 finishes, they don't skip a beat. They immediately start a new jam. And it sounds thematically similar to Seekers to me. And I think a lot of other people say that as well. So folks are like, well, hey, this is then a Seekers jam, not a Drive jam. But I disagree with those folks. I actually think this is a Drive jam. Because you can't really call it anything else. And we've been talking about these interludes. I mean, it just happened in the last show from the Atlas Dogs into the Mist. And there's just countless of these, and we're going to mention more as we go on because they do this a bunch. But they just find these pieces of music in between songs all the time now. This one just feels more fleshed out, but it's not because it is fleshed out or kind of intentional. It's just because that's what Rick does. Rick makes songs out of nothing. That's one of the things that Goose does incredibly well, and I think that happens here. And I love the arc that this has from, kind of this like peaceful thing that they're doing. And then it kind of builds and gets a little bit more energy in the end. And then it eventually finds Drive, which, Ryan, you were saying earlier, isn't the smoothest. But
no,
yeah, it's
you're not smooth coming out of Drive, and you're not smooth going back in.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, that part is tough. But there's a almost circular quality to this jam where like the phrase doesn't begin or end; it's just continuing to go. And Rick does this a bunch on this tour, where like it doesn't seem like any phrase really stops; it's just a continuation of notes. And I think that happens here to great effect. I think that part is really cool, and I do have this jam on my playlist. And I think it belongs there. It's low, and I just think this is really cool. I like what they do with a lot of this. It has like a couple sections that are, I think, really worth digging into and checking out.
I have this Drive on my playlist also. Well, I have both parts together.
Which part?
I don't think
you walked right into that, dude.
No, I knew what.
Just to be fair,
Ryan's getting
no one
upset.
is actually holding the rough transition at the end against this jam, right? I mean. Okay, well, let me ask you this then, Ryan.
Oh, I am. I definitely am.
Do you hold the end of New Hampshire Rockdale against it?
Ooh, because that's bad.
Good point. That's less the re-entry and more Rick playing the wrong chord or breaking a string.
Yeah, that's something.
I think I hold it against this jam rather than some others because of the fact that they kind of had a path to a not as rough re-entry, and Rick is kind of starting to work Drive back in there, and instead of continuing to patiently find their way back to Drive, which we've seen especially Cotter can do. He's really good at bringing things back to a completely different beat. Rick just kind of gets impatient and just like smashes them back into the ending, kind of unceremoniously. I think a flub, which is what happens in the New Hampshire Rockdale, is a
several
different
flubs.
Yes.
Continuous flub for seconds, many seconds.
Yeah. It's not, you're right.
Yeah,
it is not exactly the same. But I just wanted to see to what degree you were, handing out demerits on these.
Well, I mean, it just citation. No, it makes me upset a little bit when I listen to it, but like, yeah, I mean, I agree with Neil. I think this is definitely a jam to have on the bottom of, or near the bottom of your playlist right now.
Yeah, and you just made another great point,
really,
Ryan.
really good.
So yeah, Garrett, Fun Cadet should be handing out a citation in the sticker, and then we'll have to figure out what that citation says, but we'll come up with some good stuff.
No vibes.
Okay. I don't know where we're at. Set 2?
Oh my God.
All right. Set 2.
Oh, I've lost it completely.
Set 2.
Luckily,
Neil, there's Goons to bring you back.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Sea, man. Let's talk about that.
Dope.
Neil, you're reading.
Just gonna start on Fish in the Sea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the set list. Thanks, Kev.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing me back.
It was a subtle cue. I was like,
I appreciate the subtle cue. I completely went over my head because I was just still thinking about like nobody can see what I'm doing right now, but I have this image in my hand of like the cadet holding the citation and just oh man, it's just wonderful. Fish in the Sea. So they open second set with Fish in the Sea, and it's huge Fish in the Sea. Very different than the Fish in the Sea they play just a couple shows later. It feels like just a couple, but it's more than that. But like, being in the venue at the time, it just like, I don't know, it's something about it. Just like Goose has this ability to feel gigantic. And they do that again in the show after this, where it just, they somehow make the music feel bigger than what they're doing in the moment. And I don't know if it translates as well to tape, but it does sound pretty good on tape here, because one thing I noticed about these Jacob's Pavilion shows is that Trevor is way up in the mix on the recordings. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but to my ears, that's what I heard. So this was really great. And it's kind of a straightforward Fish in the Sea, but this place was erupting at this point. It was really, really good. Then you get the second iteration of the Goonsey Tumble, much better than the last. Very, very excellent effect. Again, this place is just bursting with people at this point. You get a momentarily pretty Redbird. Then you get a Monkster out of nowhere. Although I guess we kind of knew that was coming because we heard that they were sound checking it. And then things kind of like tail off there. And then they start the party with kind of a very straightforward version of Pancakes. And then kind of a straightforward version of So Ready. And then they're out. So kind of arcs down. But it was full party mode this show. And I think to great effect. I think this set was incredibly fun. I was in attendance for it. Again, I don't know how much it holds up on tape versus being there for it, but it's good fun show. Good fun set.
I agree. The energy during Fish and Tumble was really spectacular. And, you had the boats and the river behind the show getting in on the action. I love how a Monkster translated to electric and the Goose stage. I love that they played it twice, on this last, week and a half of tour. But yeah, it came out really, really well. And I love it. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to be in attendance. And I actually was, checking at the last minute to see maybe, Cleveland, can I get out there? Wasn't going to happen. But Fish in the Sea, Fat Freddy's Drop, and a Monkster, those have to be like, if we're talking top 5 Goose covers, those are in the top 5 in my opinion. Love to hear them anytime, anywhere.
I really like this Redbird, and it's on my Microjams playlist.
Nice.
Yeah,
it should be. It should be.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. Otherwise,
and
party set.
they weren't like deep into the set. Yeah, I don't think they were. I don't think they were like really pressed for time or anything at this point. I don't know. I really would have liked to have seen that Redbird, continue to fly.
That's Redbird in the year 2025. That's what keeps happening.
We had a really good February Redbird that wasn't cut short. But yeah, true. It does seem to be a trend. This summer. But is there another Redbird? There's one more Redbird after this one, right?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
that one's worth talking about.
So so it's not all doom and gloom for the bird. Yeah, cool. But that's the main thing for me.
No,
the Redbird is my favorite part of this set. Yeah, cool to see a Monkster. A really beautiful song, and I love. This is just a great song for Rick to sing, and yeah, I don't know if it has. With some of these songs, like a Monkster, and I've often thought with Dim Lights, like, do I want that electric, right? Or will it have the same, kind of emotional impact? And so for me, I question that with a Monkster a little bit, like does it? I don't know that it has the same emotional impact for me.
Yeah.
But that being said, happy to see them getting it out there.
Yeah, and I hear you with that thing, especially a song like Dim Lights. I absolutely agree. I don't think that would translate in electric. And I think if they tried to play a Monkster the way that they played it with a Rebelo with the full band in electric, yeah, it wouldn't really hit. But the fact that they kind of took it, and I have not listened to the Polka version, so I don't know if this is what the Polka version sounds like. But the fact that they took it and they added these synths and all this like very big sound to it, it feels like a different song. So it feels like you're getting that really awesome effect this song brings, but they're not trying to just play this gentle acoustic tune on electric instruments, which is what I feel like Dim Lights would kind of come across as if Goose did it. If that makes sense. I'm going to take the silence to say that makes sense to you.
You're making so much sense. Yeah.
CMAC time.
Canandaigua.
Yeah, Constellation Brands Marvin Sands Performing Arts Center. Speaking of corporate names, Kev, that is what CMAC stands for.
Who is Marvin Sands? Who is this man?
Good question. Who is Constellation
Yeah,
Brands?
I was going to say, how is
those
that the acronym?
Initials aren't any part of that. What?
I think they looked at it and we're going to fudge it a little bit so like you can say the acronym without being like CMPAC. Or
I would like to stick with the First Nations, and nod to you, Ryan, naming of the city, and maybe we could just call it Canandaigua.
Or CMAC, but yes.
Yeah.
So first set at CMAC, June 21st, 2025. Iguana Song, Jackaro, Draconian Meter Maid, Dustin Hoffman, Born, Rockdale, Animal. I mean, this is a great first set. I'm a fan of how this set plays out. You get the Iguana opener. Again, continuing to expand. You get a little bit of a major pivot for a minute in here. Then just like some of the nastiest pocket ever in a song on this Jackaro. The first electric version Goose has ever played. First one since Radio City. 234 show gap there. But this pocket and this groove is just straight filth. And let me tell you, Neil at this show, stone cold sober, just like ripping it up. I asked him, I was like, did you take mushrooms in the lot? Like, did I not know? Like, did I miss you drinking several beers? And he's like, no, man, just
CMAC,
full vibes guy. This Jackaro is filthy. This Meter Maid is when they start to kind of transition away from the Bliss Jam and into the more funk oriented piece of it. And again, Cotter's snare work in this jam, I think it's higher in the mix here. The snare sounds incredible, and I love just the way that he's playing it. You get a solid Dustin. This Rockdale with the Mist ending jam teases and quotes, pretty cool. And then another Animal.
Am I the only one that doesn't love this Rockdale? I mean, that doesn't love this Jackaro? Sorry.
No, you're not the only one.
Does not like
it. But there are many folks out there who are not happy about this Jackaro.
But I do want to ask. So in Nugs, it's no hyphens, J, capital J, then all lowercase A Ckaroe. I have never seen it called that. I've seen it Jackaro with no hyphens and no E on the end. This song is called Jack Monroe. In its origin days, and it has been referred to in different ways, different spellings, but I've just had never seen it like it is in Nugs. So I thought that was interesting.
I think that might be an error. Just get that fixed.
Well, it's just this song. What's interesting about this song, not to cut off your thoughts, but I since we're on this thread, I kind of want to pick it up. It changes over the course of time. This is a traditional song. There are people out there who heard this and immediately poo-pooed it and said, "This is an affront to the Grateful Dead." I say to them, there are dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of people who have performed the song over the course of the years, and all did it very differently because it is a traditional song that is passed on through oral tradition, right? So that's how the name changes. That's how the full-on name changes, or the spelling changes, or all of these things. Lyrics change, arrangements change. So anyone standing up and saying like this is somehow an affront to the Grateful Dead,
this song was being played in the early 1800s.
Not necessarily a Grateful Dead song.
And the Grateful Dead didn't start playing until like the 1860s. 1960s.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
The other thing I want to talk about, is the Rockdale.
Oh, 1960s.
And so Neil, you were talking earlier about, you know, Rick and Trevor, specifically, you know, Trevor, you know, laying down some spicy licks, and then Rick coming in sometimes with the low octave sauce, sometimes just getting into the groove with them. I kind of feel like Trevor was laying down the Mist bass line here, and then not only did Rick just decide to jump on board, but just decided to start singing about it, which is super interesting. Like, I remember at the time, just
which is great.
I think at the time I was not. It didn't have 100% of my attention. I had it on, but I was multitasking, and when he started with the whole, you know, Mist stuff, I had to take a double take. I didn't know what had happened, you know, where I had been transported to, but I mean, I like it though. You know what I mean? Like, I like it. I mean, I love the Mist ending, so maybe that's why I like it so much. But it's cool. They don't do this kind of shit very often, and so it's really interesting that it happened in the first place, you know. And I think it's just I think Rick was just feeling it and went with it, and I think it's cool.
I agree, man. It's this thing in the moment. I, like you, kind of did the double take. At first, I didn't realize what was happening to me. And like Ryan said, I was ripping it up at this show. I have to take a moment and talk about just like how into the show that I was. And it actually is relevant when you talk about the show and zoom out and think about it. But when this was happening, I was already ripping it up. It was kind of a, you know, a deep, funky Rockdale, as one usually gets when they play the song. And then all of a sudden we're just in the ending of Mist while Rockdale is still happening. And Goose just isn't like a spontaneous, weird band like that. There aren't many moments like this, like you said, Jive. And when stuff like this happens, it's really exciting. And this is interesting because it doesn't show up on any Jam of the Year playlist. But this is like one of my favorite moments of the whole entire summer. It was just so cool. And it just popped up out of nowhere. And the vibe was just right. And everything was just perfect. And it just happened. And again, this is the beauty of improvisational music. There are no rules. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. And it just fit the vibe. And let me tell you something about CMAC. If you've never been, you should go, because this venue is absolutely gorgeous. The vibe in this place was perfect. It was impossibly hot during the daytime. And then something happened where it transitioned from being impossibly hot to being just right.
The sun started
right
going
as
down,
the sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
Oh man. And like, but I mean, it was a sizable drop in temperature. I don't know how many in Celsius, but you know, about 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And I spent a good portion of this show before the show up on the lawn, just kind of soaking this venue in. And I mean, it's a really great place. So just wanted to take a moment and say that CMAC is maybe one of my favorite sheds I've ever been to, if not my most favorite shed. And so that vibe carried itself into my dancing, which carried into this Rockdale completely rocking me when it came to Into the Mist. Really, I mean, this set, again, is like not one that you're going to go back and re-listen to a ton because there's not much to write home about in terms of improv, but just so well constructed and so much fun. Though. Yeah, totally is this whole show. It was just a vibe.
Yeah, do you guys have any more thoughts on the first set, or can we go to set 2 here?
Kev, any thoughts?
Kind of dig.
Set 2.
234 show gap on that Jackrow you guys were complaining about.
Damn right.
233.
Next up, set 2, Eminence Front, Dripfield, Sinnerman, Big Modern, Give It Time, and then a Thatch encore. I mean, yeah, as you said, Neil, this is just like awesome. You know, nothing is going on the playlist. Nothing is super deep, but like Eminence, people went nuts for. Dripfield just brought the house down coming out of Eminence, you know, and yes, I was hoping for something more along the lines of the Greek drip coming, you know, that one also came out of an Eminence. But we still just got a really fiery version that was great. And then Sinnerman, you know, was an audible here.
Is that appropriate
Goonced
to
it up,
Goose, Nina Simone?
which was a lot of fun. You know,
I don't know.
it's not. That's the thing. It is not. But they did it. Center Goons.
You can clav up Jackaro, but I draw the line at goodsing up Center Man. Yeah,
there are two.
It was good though. It was sick.
There are two offensive arrangement choices in this show.
Yeah.
And then Big Modern, Give It Time. You know, like I think this is the one misstep of this show, which is they didn't leave Give It Time off, play Big Modern, you finish Big Modern, and then you play a Thatch encore that can be a few minutes longer than this one was.
Yeah. I was going to ask overall, for your thought or complaints on the Thatch timing. You jumped right in there.
Curfew. Yeah.
No, yeah. This is a really fun set too. Yeah, this is great. Again, this is another example. I can't remember what set I said this about earlier, but this is another example of a set where if there aren't going to be any jams, this is sure is a great set list to not get any big deep jams. And you do get some jams here. You know, they're just slightly abbreviated in some cases, and then Thatch obviously is just a real straightforward version, which we don't see very often.
We don't talk about this much on the show here, but the lights at this particular show blew my mind from Eminence Front through Big Modern. It was remarkable, actually, what was happening. It almost seemed like a dry run for what was going to happen at Madison Square Garden. Like they were just kind of amping themselves up. And I think in a couple different ways, that's what this show was, because it was the biggest venue they were going to play until Madison Square Garden. And so it felt almost like a dress rehearsal to some degree or another. And they delivered. I think from beginning to end, it was just, I mean, it was an excellent performance, this show.
I think going back to like, and I know we already talked about these shows like Vegas and Phoenix, to your point, Neil, I think Getty, and rightfully so, used like every single one of these shows as an opportunity as like a fine tune for what we would see at MSG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Mountain Jam, High Mount, New York, June 22nd, 2025. Say a two-setter, two-set fest show. Set one opens with The Killing Moon, Yeti, Jive 1, Rosewood Heart, Weird Fishes, Arpeggi, Jive 2, Jive Lee. And I think it's notable here that we had Michaela Davis on harp for Rosewood and Weird Fishes. Yeah. Was it?
Sick.
Some people actually, interestingly enough, say that this is the second best show of the entire summer behind only Madison Square Garden.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am that guy. I will accept that. I will stand up proudly in this podcast and say that I understand that there are people out there who suffer from Colorado attendance bias.
Debilitating.
And they will tell you that Hitler's Night 1 is better. I don't disagree that the shows are of similar quality. I really like this show. And what I like most about this show is, well, there are a couple of things I really like about the show, but the Michaela Davis sit-in is remarkable. I don't think I've heard a Goose sit-in this effective since the Grippo sit-in.
Humphreys?
Like it just fits. Oh, the Humphreys, yeah, Humphreys is pretty good. This one fits better though. I just love the way she fits inside of the music. Rosewood Heart to me sounds like the harp should have always been part of that song. Like they should have recorded it with the harp. And you get a lengthy exploration of Type 1 Rosewood here with her just kind of adding harp elements to it. And I think that's amazing. That's really, really good stuff. Sorry, I launched into my show thing. Jive,
no, it's okay because I don't have a lot of thoughts
please,
on this set. No, I mean it sounds pretty. I mean it's gorgeous sounding. I mean I don't disagree there. But I mean overall, now the Jive Lee, is a pretty good Jive Lee. I actually think
Yeah.
I actually think that the shorter 10-minute Jive Lee from Brooklyn Bowl, I think I like that one more. I have that one ranked higher.
I agree.
But I would say that, from an improv perspective, I mean, this is really where it's at. It's kind of the only place we really get much in this set. But yeah, solid finish to the set, and we get the jive triptych, so that's cool. That's always fun to see.
Yep.
And I like both these covers. I think these are both kind of better than average covers, but not top level covers for me. So Drive One Yeti in there. I don't know. Just it's not this is where I'm just a little perplexed about the comparison to Fiddler's Night One. But we won't revisit that show because we've already talked about it. But yeah, that's the comparison.
All right. So, okay, let me talk to you about what I like about this show. Killing Moon, to start it off, is a rare cover. I actually don't think this is one of the stronger parts of this set. I do like this Yeti in this set. It did what it was intended to do, is get people up off of their feet after Killing Moon, which is kind of a little bit slower of a cover. And then you get the beginning of the jive angle, or the triptych, whatever you want to call it. And then you have Rosewood, which is a beautiful version of Rosewood. I think, again, this is a really, really great sit-in, and I love what she does. It's not often that Goose gets a sit-in with the caliber of a musician that she is, and she's a remarkable musician. She might not be a household name, but she is fantastic, and she knows her shit.
Julian Lage.
Yeah, like Julian Lage, who is a household name to some degree or another if you listen to jazz music. Lage. Thank you.
Lage.
So, and then they play Weird Fishes. And then this is a thing I've said in the podcast before. I said it in the Day After show. I talk about this all the time when they play this cover. There has always been a missing element to this. And when Jeff picked up the guitar, I had hoped that he would learn the third guitar part to this song, because it's so cool with all three guitar parts. Well, it turns out that Kayla Davis can play that third guitar part on the harp, and it sounds incredible. So this is the best version of this cover they've ever played. And I love this cover. This is one of my favorite covers that they do. I just love the vibe of it. So really strong going through. Of course, you get Jive 2. Again, there's really not much to talk about with Jive 2. And then you get 16 minutes of Jive Lee, which is anchored by this very close to, what is it? Man, what is the stinking song? I can't think of the name of it. I'm drawing a blank. Loose Ends. It's a loose ends adjacent jam for several minutes, and then it goes off the rails briefly. Peter does something on the synth which I think is the most terrifying thing he's ever done. The volume is incredible on this thing. It is nuts how loud it is, but it weirdly fits with everything that was going on there. So you get a stretch of like Unhinged, then they bring it back to the loose ends jam, and so overall this just feels like a really strong set. It's got very good covers in it. It's got the Jive Suite in it. It's got an excellent version of Rosewood Heart that is extended type 1 jamming of Rosewood Heart, which I love, and then also the best version of a cover they've ever done, that they've done historically a bunch. So I think this is a really strong set, and I just love the way this whole thing shakes out. And then this is what they do when they play these 2-set festival shows. Going back to what Ryan was saying earlier, they just knock these out of the park. And I think next time they do one of these, I'm not skipping it. If it's a drive away from my house, I'm going to go, because they're always good. Northlands was excellent. Apparently they played outstanding Jive Lees at these 2-set festival shows in the Northeast, because that's exactly what they did at Northlands. But yeah, I do think this is a really strong set. There's just nothing to be mad about in this set. It's all just good. So that's how I feel about this show.
Yeah. I got nothing really to add. They do the double time Jive Lee ending. Peter doesn't totally get there, but
yeah,
it's the way she goes.
Okay. Set
all right,
two
set two.
opens with a pretty big hunger site. And then we get Echo of a Rose.
Yes, sir.
And to Ryan's extreme delight, this Echo of a Rose does two things. It sandwiches Blood Buzz Ohio, and it contains an incredible jam. So this is an Echo we can all get behind. And then the set closes with the Empress of Organos, and this is the Empress we were hinting at earlier. This is a really special jam. And then a Don't Do It encore. So I know Ryan really likes this hunger site, so I'll kind of let him talk about it. He's already alluded to the nice, post-peak chilled down jam here, which I really like as well. The main part of this jam, I don't know. Like, I feel like this one it's slipped a couple spots on my playlist. But sometimes hunger sites can be a little tough. Maybe in a not so different way as like a Big Modern or some of the other jams where it's kind of they're always really good, and then it's a matter of kind of taking a look at the subtleties that end up ultimately setting some of them apart. But there's three playlist jams in this set, and if you want to talk about that Jive Lee making it onto your playlist, you couldn't argue with somebody having 4 playlist jams from this show on their list. So in that sense, Neil, I think it's a good show. I just think overall, and I don't know how many playlist jams I have from Fiddlers, 10 or 11. But yeah,
it's all
no,
every song. Susie Q, top of the list. All right. Well, this hunger site is phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, you're right, B. The first 17, 18 minutes do the hunger site thing. Slightly different way. There's like this kind of ascending. I think it's a little bit slower, not as like high speed in your face as some of the other hunger sites that we get. But yeah, it does the hunger site thing for a while. And then the peak ends. And this is like, all right, what are they going to play next? And then they build this beautiful, slow, kind of major key space. There's kind of a hint of Bob Don in it. But it's really just, it's the patience. It's the commitment to quieter dynamics. It's the staying calm and serene. That's not a thing that Goose is known for. And so it's such a treat when they do something like this. And yes, I want more of it. Lots of it.
Would you say that as they finished the song, they reached a soaring peak like none you've heard?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. I mean, and then this Echo Blood Buzz Echo is really strong. Like the second Echo has some really cool stuff. And yeah, I mean, this set, I think this is one of those second sets that makes up for whatever shortcomings you may be able to find in the first set. I think Fiddler's Night 1 has that kind of similar thing as well, where it's just absolutely incredible second set that kind of makes up for whatever the few weak points are in set 1. I think I have Fiddler's Night 1 higher because I think the encore ultimately is what wins.
Buddy.
17
I agree with
Arcadia
Ryan
there versus a Don't Do It.
I hold on. I didn't get a chance to talk
as always
to really talk about the Echo and the Empress. So just really quick, this Echo has a super pretty melodic jam, and it's about midway into the 13-minute or so Echo jam that comes after Blood Buzz. It sounds like something, but I can't place it. So I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that, or if maybe it's just a really pretty jam. But yeah, I really like this Echo, and that's 13 solid minutes there. So that's currently still on my playlist. And then this is I think this is the goonsiest of the Goonce versions of Empress that we've been getting. But this is not just a Goonce jam. This is actually an incredible, multifaceted jam that has a lot of Goonce. and for a lot of it, the Goons is the the main theme, but this isn't just a Goons jam like I would refer to like some of the tumbles. This one actually is really cool because maybe it's the first time and maybe it's the only time that they've really kind of layered the Goons in with some other kind of forms of improvisational creativity, and they absolutely crush it. I mean, this is a really awesome jam.
Yeah, I mean, agree all around with everything you guys have said. I think this Hunger Site is very strong. I want to add a note that the post-peak Hunger Site jam here would fit in really nicely in a late 70s Dark Star. I get strong Dark Star vibes from Rick in this one. Thought it in the performance. Like listened again today to this, and I was like, wow. I mean, it's just, I love Rick's phrasing. I love his tone on this. He is no Jerry, but there are moments where he really does kind of have that spirit a little bit. And he definitely is, going for it hard there in that little bit of a jam. Like Jive, I think this Echo of a Rose is familiar. Like, I think it's something, but I just don't know what it is exactly. And I, like Jive, also have this in my plays. I think it's super strong. It's like actually the strongest Echo in forever, it feels like. And it's just really, really, really good stuff. But it's just an example of like, maybe it isn't even a song. I don't know. If you're listening and you have comments about that, maybe comment to the podcast account on Instagram or on Blue Sky. Let us know what it is. But I think this is just another instance of this band crafting a song out of nothing. And it's just so good and it sounds so rehearsed that you think it has to be something else. It has to be a song that was already written. But they just do it time and time again. They just write songs on the spot and they sound so, so good. And then, of course, you might hear this 2 years from now as part of another song that shows up on an album. You never know. I mean, this kind of thing does happen with this band. So, if you listen to the last episode of this podcast, we were talking about was it 3522
Hoffman, Arcadia,
Dustin Hoffman showing up in Arcadia.
Yeah.
So similar vibes here, where it very easily could be a song that shows up in the future, or it could be a song that we've already heard and nobody can put
If
their
the
finger on.
Hoffman,
but the band is so damn good.
Showed up in the Arcadia and contained the thatch tease. Neil, would that thatch tease have happened?
It's Inception shit at that point. Like, I don't even know. Like, you got to go so many layers in to do it. I mean, it's the thatch.
I'm on board with it
is
being a
inherent
tease
in the
personally,
Dustin Hoffman jam. It doesn't show up in all, but it shows up in most. Yeah. I'm the man of unpopular opinions right now on the podcast, which I think I usually am. But
I'm just trying to get a rise out of us. That's it.
Yeah, and not tonight. Ryan's had a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Poor Ryan took a beating the first half of this podcast. Well, so just really quick, I agree with Jive again, because we agree on everything, that this Empress of Organos is a special version. The Goons isn't something to be brushed over. This is sick. So really, really strong set here. There's no downtime in this set. It is all excellent. And again, Goose crushes these 2-set festival shows. This is a very, very strong show.
Hell yeah.
And wait, okay, one more thing. Actually, sorry. Don't Do It Encore shouldn't even be in this show. The people who put on this festival decided right as Goose came off, they're like, oh, guys, that was sick. Like, you got to give us more. And sent them back out onto the stage. Who are they to say no? So, of course, they just play a quick little number of Don't Do It. So I don't think that should take away from this show, because it shouldn't even have been part of this show. They usually, for 2-set festival shows, they don't do an encore. They
and they have the ability to do that here because it's on a ski hill in the middle of nowhere. Whereas All Good Now, for example, is at an actual concert venue with, rules. So,
yeah. So like, I don't take as many points off for that, but I don't disagree also with your point that I would much rather have a 17-minute Arcadia encore as opposed to a version of Don't Do It that's like this. It is spicy, though. There's like a nice solo in there, but all right.
Spicy Don't Do It.
Spicy. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the radio show.
So we move on to Racket in New York City. I feel like the context setting for this show is going to cover most of what we're going to talk about for it. This is a 650 capacity venue in New York City, and it was a mostly industry event. What are we looking at here? 623. So 623-2025, just a few days before the capstone show that they put on at Madison Square Garden. Just a little context. The show was for, I guess, marquee members, hosted by the local Fordham University radio station, WFUV. They extended invitations to top-tier supporters, which was most of the audience, as well as some other industry folks, and a handful of tickets that went out via lottery. The show lasted about 2 hours. We open up again. It was super heavy with the Everything Must Go album.
You're reading a press release right now? You sound like me when I'm reading one of my reviews.
Yeah, and so we opened up with Animal, into Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, Hunger Sight, Silver Rising, Dustin Hoffman.
On the playlist.
Lead Up. You didn't put that on the playlist. Your Direction. I was talking to you, Neil. Atlas Dogs, Iguana Song, Everything Must Go, Give It Time, and then we encored with Thatch. And then absolutely, I want to give some credit to the Relics review. That
I just have one
Thank you, Relics.
Major gripe about this show. With all the new album stuff, I was one How It Ends away from a Golden Goose on this night, and how do you not play How It Ends?
I don't know.
Yeah, really, you look at that set list and it makes you wonder, how did that not get in there? I think it might have been on the set list and not played. I don't know.
How Love made it in there.
Real quick, though.
That wasn't on the album.
Yeah. Why that and not How It Ends? Shout out to Jess Metzger from the FemFlock for streaming the show from inside the venue so that some of us got a chance to hear it, because no recording has been released to this point, and we did get an opportunity to hear it. We also got her commentary. I don't know about that, but we still love her. She's the best, and thank you very much for streaming the show.
God.
And go check out FemFlock. They're friends.
All right. New Hampshire. Neil, that's you.
Yep. Oh, is that me? Am I doing New Hampshire? Oh man! All right, that's exciting. Sorry, I was just really stuck on.
I said New Hampshire, and then you
so
started
quickly.
Thinking about the paddle boat in the venue. I've been telling people about that, and they're like, "Wait, like in the venue?" And they're like, "Oh, is it backstage?" I'm like, "No, you walk in, and it's right there. There's a little pond, free paddle boat rides."
Yeah, it's so classically New Hampshire that they have paddle boat rides in a duck pond inside the venue, where you serve alcohol. Like, New Hampshire truly gives no fucks. Like, somebody is eventually
free or die.
Yeah, like next Skinnerd show, somebody's drowning at that fucking venue. You know what I mean? But like, they don't give a shit. They just put on this little tiny life vest. I'm sure you can stand up inside the pond. We did get an adorable picture of Ryan paddling his paddle boat around, doing the Nugs intro in there. Also had some great interviews with some people in the lot. I mean, there was some special stuff happening.
Storm Tracker became a cooking show. That one.
Yeah, there's good stuff happening at that show. But it's a lively lot scene at this venue. There's not much going on up there. There's just the lake. There's a lot of boats, a lot of big trucks, and not much else. A lot of motorcycles too. Yeah, but in any case, cool venue. Actually, really enjoyed this venue.
And we talked about it.
It was pretty
the day after show, but we are going to talk about the show.
Yeah, now. We did. And we're going to talk about the show. Thank you, Ryan, for correcting me. Yes, Jive Goose's favorite, the Flopener. And then you get a Silver Rising. I mean, whoa, this set.
First set.
Silver Rising, California Magic, Draconian Meter Maid. At this point, you're thinking, all right, this is when we turn it around. Nope. You get Mr. Action. It's just like opener. And then this can't be a coincidence.
Chattanooga's own
David Gray. They play Please Forgive Me. And I feel like that is like their way of saying like, hey, listen, we had to empty the tank of these songs before the next two shows that we do. So we're really sorry about that. And let's move on from here. And of course, they do make up for it with a superb version of Rockdale that that does have a reminiscent jam, and I don't care if it has a reminiscent jam or a recycled jam, if you want to use that word. I certainly wouldn't. It's spectacular. It's really, really good stuff, and love what they're doing here. I don't know if I want to go deep into my notes on this one, because I think I want to go a little bit deeper on the rest of it. But this is one of those instances where, again, Rick just kind of grasps melody out of thin air. Maybe it's a familiar one, and they build on that thing, and it becomes this whole gigantic thing by the end. And it's really pretty, and I thought this was an excellent jam.
It's that SPAC Drive Hunger Salt zone. Just absolutely phenomenal. And as we just over 20 minutes, just under 20 minutes. And also the way that this set was going when they started Rockdale, and I think we were both like, all right, now they'll play a 12-minute Rockdale to close the set. It's kind of in the vein of what they were doing outside of the Meter Maid, which kind of stretched a little, but no, then they just bust it wide open. Absolutely phenomenal jam, despite, Rick completely botching the end. This is one where I don't take a lot of points off, B. As I said, because the jam is just so good. But this also kicks off a three-song stretch, leading into the first two of the second set.
I was kind of going to say the same thing. I'm trying to think of another time when there's been 3 straight playlist jams, going over the set break, or not. 3 consecutive, just killer jams here. But I don't want to get too far ahead. I like the Rockdale. Definitely on the playlist. Maybe not quite as high for me, but this is a highly re-listenable jam. And I can't wait to talk about the rest of the jams in this show.
Mm-hmm. All right. Set 2, we have Into the Mist opener, Into Fish in the Sea. Then you get Everything Must Go, and then set ending, Christmas Card from a Hooker in Minneapolis, and an encore of A Goonsey Empress. So, there's a lot to dig in here. I think you guys have very nuanced thoughts about this, because you have this thing way up your playlist. But this is the best version of Fish in the Sea they've ever played. It's
easily,
not even close. This goes several different places. I was really high on the version that was played in February. I thought that was spectacular. That doesn't come anywhere near as good as this. This is really something.
Watch it. People who are in Milwaukee are going to be upset that you said that.
Well, you know what it does do that Milwaukee did is it finds its way into kind of that Latin space. But then it kind of bridges over that and gets into kind of a Middle Eastern Latin space, which is, kind of that like Phrygian dominant vibe kind of thing. That doesn't really show up in this kind of music ever, but it shows up in other types of music, like, harder music. In any case, really creative jamming in this thing that I think goes a bunch of different directions. You guys, why don't you guys kind of take it away, and you can kind of talk about what you love about this jam.
My favorite part is the Sublime tease.
Yeah, God.
No, I'm just kidding. The fact that, Mist is really getting out there again. I think, for a lot of last year, it was kind of doing the Bliss Mist thing, and then that was it. And this one feels like maybe they're like starting to figure out how they're going to move beyond that, which is, that's a trend that I talk about a lot these days. Them trying to move beyond the formulaic spaces the jams can get into and kind of figure out how to elevate it. You still get that Bliss peak, but then you get more beyond that, and you get an absolutely incredible segue into Fish. Again, just the patience that they exhibit as they weave their way into the beginning of that song. And I was expecting here a Fish similar to the one in Cleveland, where they just like go for it, huge peak, lots of builds, and it starts that way, and then they get outside of Fish in the Sea in a way that, as you said, Neil, they've never done before, and you get this dark jamming. This dissonance comes in, and it doesn't end there, which is the cool part. Like, you get that, and they explore that, and it's incredible. And then you get another like kind of calm post-peak segue into Everything Must Go that comes across really, really nicely as well. So I think this Fish in the Sea is my favorite jam of the summer. This is what I have ranked the highest right now, and I feel like I hear a new layer to it every time. I listen.
I think I don't have a whole lot to add. I mean, 2 more of those, really beautiful post-peak kind of cool down endings, which always helps with the segues. I mean, that's why I love this style of jamming. And I think the Fish in the Sea is. I think it is that ending that is why I have it as high as I do, but I think ultimately I'll probably end up, I think it's already maybe starting to slip a little bit for me. I think the rest of the jam is good. I agree that it's the best Fish in the Sea. But yeah, I'm not sure there's enough there for this to be like a top 10 jam for me at the end of the year or what have you. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe more listens will, we'll solidify that one way or the other. But yeah, I love all of these jam endings that we're getting. And again, I guess the last thing I'll say is I think it's the same thing for the Hunger Side. I love that ending so much. And so then does that prop up its spot on the playlist enough? I think that's kind of what I'm grappling with for a few of these.
Fair. And then, so just kind of continuing on through the rest of the set, 2 very strong versions. Like you guys said, I think they're all 3 playlist jams. I think they all stay on the playlist too. Like they're not going to fall off. They're all really strong. You get an Everything Must Go, which on this particular tour, Everything Must Go doesn't really knock your socks off. There was a kind of heater version a little bit, but it wasn't much to write home about. And then Real Head Scratcher, another Christmas card from a hooker, which is such a rare cover for them. And if you count the 2 times that they played it at Swansea in 2020, this is the 3rd time they've played it in New Hampshire, which is kind of bananas. Like, I don't know why they decided to do that again. And also like a really weird spot for it. Nice little gift though, if you went to the show. Shockingly rare cover and also incredibly well performed. But like your set 2 closer is a Tom Waits song that is absolutely gut wrenching, and like that's weird. But of course they make up for it with the Goonsey Empress encore. I think of the 3 Goonsey Empresses that exist, this is the least exciting of the 3. Like somehow it kind of like they took their foot off the gas after the last version.
Well, they'd curfew coming up, right? And you remember like Peter was trying to get Rick to wrap it up and go into the ending, and Rick was just like so deep in the sauce that he just like was not paying attention.
I think we learned earlier we're not allowed to talk about our experiences at the show.
Okay,
Ryan. Yeah, you can only.
This is about the music.
Fair enough. So that's it. Any more thoughts on this? The show before the show?
Let's
talk about the show. The show.
The show.
Madison Square Garden. The show. The biggest show Goose has ever played. Sold out. Packed arena. I mean, we're going to talk a bit about, what happened at the show because we have to. But
the Shohio of the original 13 colonies.
I'm with you there.
Oh, man.
New York City is the Shohio of the original 13 colonies. Thank you, Kev. I might use that. First set,
use that on
1 hour and 40 minutes or so. Factory Fiction, Hunger Site, My Mind Has Been Consumed by Media, Western Sun, Running Up That Hill, Give It Time, Feel It Now, Dustin Hoffman, Animal, With the Horns, with Stuart Bogey, Dave Nelson, and Andrew McGovern. Like, I mean, Factory Fiction opener was perfect. They keep it's the statement, right? Like, we're going to open our Madison Square Garden show with Factory Fiction. Really cool, slow, deep psychedelic jam in this one, followed by Hunger Site, just like, face melting, fast pace. You let Cotter sing his song in Madison Square Garden, which is pretty cool. He that like definitely really special moment for him to be able to do that on such a big stage. Western Sun, which got a really big reaction from the crowd, which was cool. Brief jam there into Running Up That Hill. Give It Time for the huge sing-along. And then, I mean, the horns, getting to see Feel It Now. First of all, Feel It Now being played for the first time in just under a month since Bend.
Criminal.
I agree. Weird that a song that's, a highlight song of the album was left off until here. But, it comes back in a big way with the horns. Stuart Bogey on this Feel It Now, just nasty. His solo is nasty. Then you get Pretty Restrained Dustin here, followed by, Summer 2025 Animal Formula, but this time with horns. And it's great.
Has Animal closed a set?
Never. No.
Animal? Yeah. Okay.
Every set this tour. Every first set of the tour. Without a doubt. That was thanks for reading us your Jam Bass review. I appreciate that.
I didn't actually write for Jam Bass for this one.
At least when I'm reading an outside source, I credit the source.
I wasn't reading an outside source just now, and if I was reading my own review, credit myself with it.
There you go. Ryan Storm by Ryan Storm.
Yeah.
You know what really stood out for me in the Feel It Now was the muted trumpet, which I should know who the guy is that plays the muted trumpet, but he's fantastic. Which of the three it's obviously not Stuart Bogey, but in any case, doesn't matter. He's fantastic, and I thought that really added to the song. I actually liked all three horns songs. I think that it all just sounded great, and of course, it makes sense. There are horn parts already written for these tunes. Not much else to add here.
That was
Ryan
Andrew
said a lot of
McGovern
words
on trumpet,
and they were all very good words, so I can't really expand on that.
And we should also mention Dave Nelson on trombone.
Andrew McGovern is sick on that
Stewart
trumpet.
has already been mentioned, so those were the three.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great first set, man. Factory Fiction is just like a tempo setting. This is what we're going to do with this show, sort of opening. And then, to follow it up with Hunger Site, we were scared we were going to get, some openers, maybe a 1-pack, 2-pack, 3-pack. And that didn't happen here, thankfully. Running Up That Hill is always fucking awesome. Like, always brings energy. It's a great cover. I thought it was a great first set.
I wonder where all these Goose fans were hiding when we're at like 5,000 cap venues, like, Jacobs Pavilion and stuff. I mean, people really came out of the woodwork for this show, and that's really awesome. And also, just a moment of silence for Kirsten Wintergreen, who in fact died right before the show happened.
I think it was during the opener. He was
rip.
Was it during the opener?
Bravely trying to expose the conspiracy, around the organization and Peach Piro, but according to the video that was released, Peach Piro used his mercenary Cotter Ellis to kill.
They had him whacked.
Well, it looked like he was whacked as the show was starting, but that can't have happened because Cotter was the one that killed him.
Did it? Right. So there questions abound. Is Cotter Ellis real?
Well, that one we don't know. Today he posted a video of him talking about playing 6 gigs in the next week from like the top of a mountain in the middle of a thunderstorm. So
yeah. And then also chewing on an almost certainly poisonous piece of spruce.
I'm sure he's fine.
I don't know if it's poisonous or not, but you probably shouldn't eat that.
No, you should not put that in your mouth.
No, you should not put that in your mouth. Strong set. Not much jamming. I think that's the big takeaway here. They wanted to get out there and play all their songs. They had a gigantic audience. Big thing to note in here is the Give It Time sing-along that happened, which was nuts. I don't think I've ever seen that since Red Rocks What's Up. And that was pretty cool.
And I didn't make it on the boards, freaking out at the beginning of the song this time.
Yeah. Folks knew what this one was.
Yeah.
All right, second set, Thatch, Redbird, Don't Leave Me This Way, Tumble Creatures, Shama, Tumble, Jedstone, Dripfield, Arcadia. That's 2 hours, folks. Just around 4 hours of music at this show, which is pretty insane. Everything that they played was on the written set list. The only thing that they skipped was they were planning on starting the encore with Madhavan and then playing Arcadia. Can't say I would have been upset about that, but, This thatch, it's funny. I didn't think much of it at the show. I was like, oh, this is this is a very good thatch. They're doing the Bliss thing with it, and then people were like, no, dude, like you got to rank it. And I listened to it again, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is fantastic. So
It's pretty good.
Yeah, this is a great jam. I mean, just really strong. Rick again, taking those phrases out of thin air. Lots of emotion in his playing. This Redbird, I love. I initially had it ranked a lot higher than I do now, but I love this because it shows that they're not afraid to do the kind of weird and dissonant jamming style in MSG, which is cool. We don't get a lot of it at this show, but we do get a few minutes of it here at the end of this Redbird, and I think that's really, really awesome that they did that kind of thing. Don't Leave Me This Way brings the house down, as it always does. Then you get the best Goose of the tour in this tumble. The last 2 to 3 minutes when Peter starts going in on guitar and it just gets absolute, just dark and filthy and it's good. And then you get a perfect segue into Creatures, into Shama, where Peter announces that they're going over curfew, finishing Tumble with another Madhavan-ish jam. That's a trend when they're coming back to finish the song. Jed Stone is so good. I have listened to this Jed Stone a lot. I will continue to do so because it's incredible. And then, obligatory Dripfield, and then Arcadia.
I prefer the Fiddler's Jed Stone. Well, it actually is it has a better jam. I mean, it's
shocking.
Shocking. But yeah, no, this Thatch is really good. The Redbird I like. Yeah, I don't think it has a place high on anybody's playlist. So good job moving it down. And then look, I hate to say this. I don't love Don't Leave Me This Way. And the whole, so this is one of those shows where Don't Leave Me This Way, Tumble, Creatures, Shama, Tumble.
You guys are wrong.
It's just not my vibe, but I will fully admit that I'm sure it was, for the most part, a dance party, and I bet the place was bumping. It's similar to Fiddler's Night 2 Set 2 with Creatures fast, slow. It's just not, it's just not my jam. And so, it is what it is. But yeah, super happy that Jed Stone got tapped for a second play. And yeah, Dripfield Encore or Dripfield Closer, Arcadia Encore. Yeah, checking those boxes. That's big. You gotta do that. You knew Dripfield was coming. I mean, I had no doubt that they'd play Dripfield at Madison Square Garden.
I was worried that they wouldn't,
which
Ryan gave me a hard time for.
Obviously they were playing it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's their biggest song, and it had to be played. You're absolutely right. What I do like about this set, usually when Goose kind of plays these big shows, these biggest show ever shows, which they played a lot of them now, and this is yet another one that happened in New York. So I'll compare it directly to Radio City, where the jams just weren't really there necessarily in the Radio City shows. The jams are here in this set. You get a really strong Thatch that should wind up on people's playlists, and then you get a decently strong Redbird. I don't know if that one actually stays on my playlist throughout the year. Maybe it lands on mine now. And then, of course, the party section shows up. Those of us who were in attendance know this was an incredibly fun time. I mean, I danced so ridiculously hard. Don't Leave Me This Way, Tumble, Creatures. Shama was like a brief respite where you kind of lean back, you sing along to the song and kind of soak it all in. It was a moment. And I'm not a big Shama guy, but Shama really hit me in this show, and I really liked it. And I think that's the only way I can talk about the show is my perspective as an audience member, rather than somebody who's re-listening to this. Because I don't know if this is 2 hours of music that I'm going to go and kind of put on beginning to end. If they put this on wax, I don't know how much of it I'm spinning, which they may put it on wax, and I hope they do. But in any case, the Goonsy Tumble is, I think, my favorite instance of Goons. I don't know. It's kind of a tie for the Mountain Jam Empress. But in any case, this is pretty sick. And I think this winds up on my playlist and Jed Stone to cool down for a moment before a gigantic drip field. And then again, I have to talk about this from the perspective of somebody who's at the show, but the sound during drip field was more than just sound. It was visceral. You could feel it in your body.
Tribal.
It was like it was just shaking your innards. And it was something, man. It was a whole experience, a sensory experience beyond just what you were using your ears for, but the lights and like the actual feeling inside of your body. And I think that's a testament to all aspects of the Goose organization,
the
for
organization,
lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But the lights and the sound and the music, everything was just right in this moment. No detail. It was like having a Michelin star meal. They didn't fuck up a single thing. It was all just right. And a multi-sensory experience that was just incredible. They really did it exactly the way that it needed to be done, and I don't think they could have done any better right at that exact moment. So what a way to cap it off. And then of course Arcadia with horns for an encore is sick, and they should do this again. It's so good. So I have like lots of really strong opinions about this show, not as somebody who's into the jams, but somebody who just loves Goose and loves all of the things that they're doing. They really just knocked this show out of the park.
I was hanging out with, I don't know, maybe about 10 other people at a watch party watching the show. And I can tell you it absolutely translated back at home. Maybe not as much as the vibe in the room, probably not as much as the vibe in the room at MSG, but it translated at home. Everybody was, Goose met the moment, man. Like they knew the assignment, and beginning to end, I think they met the moment for this show, and it'll be absolutely interesting and astounding to see what they do next. Like, where do you go? Where do you go after playing?
Well, you go to
MSG
Newport,
and selling it out.
Yeah,
you go to New Haven,
Damn
then
good
Newport.
question.
You mean New Haven?
How could I forget about
You go to
Westville?
New Haven, yeah.
Yeah, you go to Westville. Actually,
You go back home.
You go back home
to Connecticut.
Are we ready?
Because it's not that great of a show.
Ouch.
All right.
Well, it's the come down,
It's
you
the
know.
come down, but
There's
there's a couple great moments. Let's do it.
6/29,
Last show.
25, Westville Music Bowl, New Haven, Connecticut. Great city. Set 1, Yeti. Pumped Up Kicks, Yeti. Iguana
Great
Song,
city.
Your Direction, A Monster, All I Need, Salt. And I'm sorry?
Jody of the Year.
Oh.
This is the Jody of the Year shirt show.
So yeah, this All I Need is
Jody.
Is
Yeah,
really
I keep
good.
pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that I would really talk about. And it is the best All I Need they've played this year. And I currently have it. I have it only behind Madhavan, Fish in the Sea, and Torero right now from the 6/17 on shows. Maybe that's too high. I don't know. But maybe I'm just a sucker for really good All I Needs, and I've been longing for one. But this is a really great jam. And yeah, I'll let you guys break it down a little bit more. But other than the All I Need, not quite sure. I mean, what's going on with the Yeti Pumped Up Kicks? I don't know. That just...
They're playing it too much.
Is the pod like officially on board with the Yeti Pumped Up Kicks? Yeti sandwich should be taken off the menu.
I think I was on board when they busted it out at Salt Shed last fall. It was like, yeah, you don't need to do that.
Well, it turns out Yeti on its own is pretty good these days. They did rework the song last year, and I think it is not a drag anymore.
It doesn't need the help anymore.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think there was a time when they were playing it literally every third show back in 2021 where we were like, another Yeti, and like those were rough. Now I don't mind it so much. I think the reworked version is great though. It's kind of got that disco dance party in the middle, and that's great. And then this Pumped Up Kicks robs you of that. And
you start to get a little bit goonsy. You start to get a little bit goonsy for a minute before the segue.
Yeah, well, you get a Goose in and out of this that is awkward because Peter just kind of flips the switch off. There's no kind of smooth segue, but I agree with you, B. There are much better songs to be played.
Yeah, and I think it was also things like Iguana in Your Direction and Salt. They were like, it's the last show of tour. We didn't play these songs at MSG. We want to play them. And so that kind of happens in this show.
And people play Salt more often and jam it out.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Segue from All I Need into Salt is spectacular.
It is. This All I Need is really great. And I don't disagree with Jive. I think this one actually sits decently high for the second half if you're just going to split it up into playlists. I don't know where this is ultimately going to land. It's not the kind of jam that tends to float up for me. But I will say this, there are going to be a lot of people who absolutely love this jam. The Bliss Jam contingent is going to be way after this one because it is an extraordinary Bliss Jam. It's not a run-of-the-mill Bliss Jam. It does kind of this curtain of sound thing that they occasionally manage to get their way to that sounds just so good. It almost sounds like one instrument kind of propelling forward for a while. And a full exploration of that for over 20 minutes. Then you get an excellent segue into Salt. So this is a real treat. This is an excellent jam. This is very, very, very good stuff. Should not be written off as just another Bliss jam. It's certainly way more than that. Yeah, that's what I have to say about this first set.
Yeah,
last
I'm with you.
Set of the tour so far.
I mean, All I Need. Let's go. Last
Modern,
set of the tour.
Madhavan, Whip It, Susie Q, SOS, Slow Ready, Fast Slow, Encore, You Spin Me Round. I mean, I think we all probably want to jump straight to the Whip It, Susie Q 1-2 punch in the middle.
Oh, why get a Madhavan jam when you can get Whip It, Susie Q instead? You know, that's what I always say.
Sam King loves Whip It, and I think she earned it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So why was Susie Q played?
Who knows? I mean, maybe it was for somebody. It's a hometown party show. The band was in party mode. They're in post-show celebration mode at this. They've just done the biggest show ever. So this is the kind of show that you get after that. I mean, I
thought we were getting Green River again, man.
So did
I thought we were getting Green River. I was celebrating it. I was like, yes, Green River. Like, hell yeah.
Green River would have been better because it jams.
Yeah. And then our friend Dylan, who was right next to me at the time, looked at me and he's like, "This is not Green River, man."
It's as we always say: if you know,
you
know what CCR song starts,
I don't know which. I don't know which one of those songs I hate more.
Entirely too much CCR.
Yeah. True.
Because they sound the same. Well, I definitely dislike Susie Q more than I dislike.
And
Green
just
River
a quick note. I'm sorry. Just a quick note. This is SOS.
I think also
with lyrics.
Yep.
And with Dawn as part of SOS.
Yeah. The full SOS. Full experience.
How does it get tracked? Does it get tracked as SOS?
It gets tracked as SOS.
Okay.
And I mean, we skipped over the Big Modern, but like it's 20 minutes and it does the Big Modern thing. And this was a great way to start off the last set of the tour. I think when Madhavan started, we were all like, oh yeah, like here we go, Westville Madhavan. And I don't get why you play Madhavan here if you're not going to come back to it later. You know, we've seen this before, like Boise, for example, where they opened with Madhavan and they went right into the Rosewood and they came back and finished Madhavan later. But here you don't even get the ending ever. You know, it's just they play the song and then they don't jam and they move on to Whip It. Puzzling move for me.
Weird.
And then, you know, then the rest of the set you go in party mode, which is fine. And I think it's interesting to it's interesting to look at the You Spin Me encore versus the Praise You encore last year, you know, to close the tour. I think this just shows like they're in full party mode here. I think that was less the case at last year's Westville show. But here they're like, we're just, you know, we're gonna rip it up. You know, we're gonna let people dance. We're gonna have a good time. And I think You Spin Me Round is great here, even though like 5 covers is a bit much for one show, especially the last full Goose show for a couple of months. It's a little bit more of that maybe than you want.
You
but
guys
it was still a great way
might not be surprised to hear me say that I actually don't like You Spin Me Round. I
What?
I don't know.
Shocking.
I don't know. I'm just being honest.
Tell you.
I'm just putting myself out there. You know what I mean?
Like a record player, right round.
That's it. That's the tour
so far.
Yeah.
This
so
is
far.
it. The tour so far, right?
So
we've got a couple more shows coming in August. Look forward to those. You get, of course, the Newport Folk Festival, which is exciting. And then you get something.
Jive's birthday.
It is.
Neil,
Jive's birthday show. We just doxed Jive Goose. Now we know his name, address, and date of birth.
All, how many more shows are there in the current Fantasy Goose tour? Utah. Give me 2.
2, Utah. Make it 2. So 2. Yes. So one of them, in fact, is in Utah. So, we've got a lot more Fantasy Goose left to play. I think some of these shows will be predictable. I think both of these shows are going to be pretty predictable. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's real crunch time now.
It's pretty cool that you're winning your own game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I didn't want that to happen. I really strongly considered actually deleting my score from Westville just so I wouldn't win because I don't want this. Whoa,
2020.
We'll edit that shit out.
Why?
You can't say that on the podcast.
You think that's the first time anyone's ever said that on this podcast?
Yes. That is the first time.
We should spend a few minutes and dig into this.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the cream has risen to the top.
In any case,
but yeah, Neil sitting in first place. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well, thanks,
I don't know what we should do. If we should you send your picks at least to this group every day? Like, I don't know. Like, there has to be some kind of audit or.
Hey, I trust Neil.
I can give you a timestamp on every single one of my picks. Also, friend of the pod, fierce critic of the pod, Be Done, routinely checks my picks right when the show begins to make sure that there are no shenanigans. Because, of course, he is a cop. So he really wants to make sure all rules are followed.
Luck.
And, hey, listen, I think the reason why I was so successful is because I've taken a few seasons off where, like, I haven't really thought so much about the set list before, but I think because I've been spending so much time doing Fantasy Goose stuff, I remembered how to catch my groove,
dialed in,
and then I was able to hang with Ev Dude, who is just sick at this game and maybe the best that has ever played. So,
Neil, do you have any recommendations for, like, maybe somebody that doesn't play all the time, how they could increase their score?
How they can increase their score? Yes. So what you do is you ask Ryan Storm what his picks are, and, like, don't do that shit.
If you didn't actually listen, Neil did that, and he didn't hit 8 points.
You might want to copy some of Ryan's picks at the beginning of tour.
Also fair,
but definitely not down the stretch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at the end.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that brings us.
He's a shower, not a grower.
Oh boy. All right. Well, there's only one thing left to do before we wrap up this episode, and that is open up the mail sack. Of course, can't forget the sack. We will have a good one today. Thank you to everybody, as always, for getting involved. Got some from Instagram. Got some from Blue Sky. We got a lot going on. I'm gonna take this one here on Instagram from Shaggle Rock. He's got a few statements here. First of all, no 726 on a summer tour is criminal. I agree.
That's 100% fair.
Yeah, but they managed to squeeze in a Yeti pumped up kicks Yeti.
Multiple.
Shit.
That's
multiple.
Also fair.
I mean, like, I actually didn't think about how they haven't played 726 since Gonzo. I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. But yeah, they haven't played 726 since Gonzo, which is ridiculous. So hopefully we see more of that in the fall. Next one, Rick did really well remembering his own lyrics. Shagorock, I don't know if you and I were at different shows this summer, but Rick definitely did not do a good job remembering his own lyrics.
The lyrics are on the TV,
I think
man.
sometimes he forgets to put them
Sometimes
up.
he doesn't even cue it up.
Like,
Yeah, he just
I
doesn't
think it
even
was
do it. He just
Mississippi,
give a
New
fuck.
Hampshire, I laughed because he clearly didn't have them on the teleprompter, and it was the first song of the set. Like, it's not like they segued in abruptly and he didn't have time to cue it up. Like, they walked on stage and he didn't put the lyrics on the screen. So that's always funny. And then third, C-Mac was show of the summer. Shagorock, I know you're an upstate New York guy, so I'll give that to you there. I think C-Mac, similar to last year's C-Mac, has a lot of people very excited about it because it's an overall very well-rounded show. And so I think it's one of the most consistent shows of the tour for sure in terms of being consistently good. Not my favorite, however. Obviously, I love it, and by not my favorite, I mean it's not my number one. That's my sack. Who's up next?
I'll drop a quick one on you.
Do it.
Let's see. Alton George. Elton George? On Blue Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Thoughts on Gooseman's announcement or lack thereof? So we're sort of still in unofficial territory, right? There were business cards that were dropped around MSG. We can't talk about publicly available business cards that were dropped around MSG that people picked up and posted on social media. We're not allowed to talk about that.
I mean, the cards we can talk about. Other than that, I think, the last 2 years we had the Goosemas announcement in June. I think this year they pushed the Gonzo announcement first to kind of make that happen. So, I'm assuming Goosemas will happen sooner than later.
Yeah.
So this year.
I think there will be a Goosemas in 2025. I think that's a safe bet. And
Goosemas,
I believe that Goose will perform at Goosemas.
This shit turned into magic 8-ball real quick.
Reply, Hazy. Try again.
I think this might be a true-false from Nate B. Is this Nate Bordash? This is Nate Bordash. His question is, Fiddlers was fucking amazing.
Nate is the man.
Exclamation point.
No
exclamation point. And I'd have to say true. I think that was his main question.
You're not going to read the rest of it?
Yeah, I don't know.
You got to read the whole.
The rest is just.
Yeah, don't.
Well, the rest is just his experiences. I think.
I'll read it for you if you don't want to read it.
I think his main question I addressed.
And he's being excited. All right, well, I'll read it then. Yeah. So the rest of the post, shout out to good friend of the pod, Nate Bordash. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Tagged friend of the pod, Brian Huff, who won Fantasy Goose the night before. Celebrated proper with In-N-Out milkshakes, all 3 flavors. I believe that took place at Casa de Haps, where I am right now. No bad days, protect your peace. And he tagged W-Ted and the Femme Flock. Nate, we love you. No bad days.
Yeah, find your peace, chair.
Yeah.
All right, so
Jive just got a fun ticket.
Yeah, he did.
Here. I mean, there's fun tickets are being handed out all over the fucking place in this one. But in any case, what's one venue they should keep for 2026, excluding MSG? One venue they should ditch, and one venue they should grow out of. And I've got some answers for this one. I think they should keep the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion in New Hampshire. That was a sick show. And I think they should do a 2-night run there. And I think we should all rent a boat and have a jolly old time up there. Sick venue, sick crowd. Everything about it is great. So they should keep that one. They should absolutely grow out of the Jacobs Pavilion because they've already grown out of that place. They did a 2-night run there and it was bursting at the seams both nights. So definitely too big for that place. And then what was the other part of the question?
The venue they should lose.
Oh, one that they should ditch? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I feel... Well, part of me wants to say ditch Westville and then kind of move to the slightly larger venue.
Hartford Healthcare
that
Amphitheater?
Yeah, no, there's like one in Bridgeport. I forget the name of it, but in any case, I like Westville. Westville's cool. I want to see more indoor shows though in the summer, because I got to say, MSG indoors was awesome, and if we can kind of pepper those in throughout the summer, that would be great. So, if the New Haven Coliseum still exists, I would say that you go play the New Haven Coliseum because that place is sick. But it was probably falling down. So. But if anybody else has an answer to that question, please.
I agree. Oh yeah,
I think my category would be bring back, and I would say bring back Dillon Amphitheater. If you want to get a boat pre-show, that's where you do it. Would you not be concerned that you might not be able to make it through the traffic in New Hampshire back to the venue? Okay. Well, I had asked you guys why you weren't.
There's not a lot of traffic,
and I thought you guys.
Yeah, no, it's right there on the lake, man. It's nice.
That's cool.
Because we drove up from Boston
and then
that
I would
day,
say ditch
and then
Cervantes
had a show.
Yeah.
I didn't read the question. I'm just.
What?
Oh, from this tour. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just
ditching a venue from
Colorado,
this tour.
From this tour, you thought at all like
ditch Red Rocks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
so that's actually a great segue, because I would also like to keep it Colorado centric. I don't know if many people know this, but in 2028 there's going to be a 14,000 capacity venue that's opening up for the National Women's Soccer League in central Denver, like Santa Fe and I-25. So I hope, upon hope, that when that place opens up, it's centrally located, has the capacity, and it's not Red Rocks. And if you look at any of the mock-ups, again, it's the National Women's Soccer League. If you look at any of the mock-ups, there's actually shade over the place and everything. So it looks like an ideal place, centrally located.
Yeah, they're not going to let a bunch
of
it's
not on the map yet, but I hope that's a place that
place.
in a couple years when it opens up, that they definitely add to the roster.
They'll pay. Yeah.
You got to pay the bills, man.
There we go.
Yeah. It could take a couple of years to get it grimy enough to let us in.
Yeah. And that brings us to the conclusion of our summer tour recap so far. Thank you, B, for correcting me all those times. We really appreciate all of you, of course, joining us over these two recaps. It was a fantastic summer. Thank you once again. Huge, huge thank you to Goose, the whole band, the whole crew. Yes, the summer so far. Thank you. The whole band, the whole crew, everybody who worked so hard to make this tour happen. I mean, I can't speak for all four of us here, but I just think I've never been prouder to be. Thank you. I've never personally been prouder to be a Goose fan, and felt that this community, has never been stronger than it is right now. And so just really grateful to be a part of all of that, and really grateful that so many of you decide to listen to us ramble about this stuff. I feel very lucky.
I would say that you ramble. I think I have very cohesive thoughts. I would say Jive does the same.
Jive definitely rambles.
I don't know.
Every single one of you fuckers. every single one of you fuckers ramble.
Kev keeps it tight.
Fair enough.
Well, that's
mushrooms.
That's what I have to say. Thank you everybody again for listening. We will see you for day after shows. For at least Park City Song Summit, Newport, TBD on what happens. But we love you all. Enjoy the rest of your summer, because, of course, this is just the summer so far. And we will see you all very soon when tour picks back up. We love you very much. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Peace.
Cheers, y'all.